Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
Leon Hamilton returns home 2 days early, hoping to surprise his wife and daughter for the holidays. Instead, he finds Dean Carter's car outside his house at 1 a.m. Stepping inside, he discovers Gracie, his wife of 12 years, curled up with Dean on the living room couch. "Leon?" she gasps, her face pale. Dean stammers. "I thought you thought I'd be gone," Leon interrupts, his calm tone laced with cold fury. A storm of betrayal and calculated revenge unfolds. How far will Leon go to protect his family and exact justice? The truth will unravel everything. Chapter 1. Leon Hamilton flicked the overhead cabin light off, plunging his airplane seat into darkness. The commercial flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Raleigh, North Carolina had been long, and the last 2 months overseas felt like a blur of negotiations, troubleshooting, and living out of a suitcase. As a civilian attaché with the U.S. Army's Logistics Corps, a role that combined both military liaison responsibilities and private contracting, he'd traveled extensively on short-term deployments. This latest mission had stretched unexpectedly to a full 8 weeks. It was supposed to be 4, but supply line complications extended his stay. He'd missed Thanksgiving with his family, but at least he'd made it back before Christmas. He gazed at the inert phone in his hand, its screen blank. During his final days in Germany, he'd noticed that Gracie, his wife of 12 years, had grown distant in their video calls. Her messages had become stilted, delayed, or non-existent. But Leon chalked it up to the usual stresses at home: day-to-day life, their daughter Molly's middle school events, extended family drama, and so on. He tried pushing aside the gnawing sense that something was off. But that sense wouldn't disappear, especially now that he was returning unannounced 2 days ahead of schedule. He'd kept it secret, so he could surprise Gracie and Molly. He pictured how Molly's eyes would light up. She was turning 13 soon, and he'd promised to be present for her mid-December birthday. Maybe he'd help Gracie decorate the tree. Maybe they'd do their usual ritual of holiday cookie baking. The warm thoughts buoyed him, but an undercurrent of tension remained. Something about Gracie's final text, "We'll manage," had struck him as cold. The plane landed with a gentle thump on the runway, the engines roaring into reverse thrust. Leon inhaled, steeling himself for the next hours. The plan: rent a car, drive the remaining hour to their quiet suburban neighborhood near the Research Triangle. It was nearing midnight local time, but he wanted to see his family immediately. At the car rental desk, the agent recognized his name. "Welcome back, Mr. Hamilton." He nodded politely, completed the paperwork, then tossed his duffel bag into a compact sedan. The roads were dark, and intermittent rain slicked the highway. He turned on an old playlist Gracie had once compiled for him, a mix of classic rock and 90s alt hits. Yet the familiar tunes only sharpened his sense of foreboding. The fiancée of one of his co-workers had once cheated while he was away. Leon had supported the guy through the heartbreak, never imagining something similar might happen to him. But that's paranoia, he scolded himself. Gracie had never shown any interest in betrayal. She was a middle school teacher, busy with lesson plans, after-school tutoring, and church volunteer work on weekends. She'd always been devoted to family, at least until recently. By the time Leon turned into his suburban cul-de-sac, it was past 1 a.m. The houses were mostly dark. Only a few porch lights glimmered through the drizzle. He pulled into the driveway of his own 2-story home, a place he'd painstakingly saved for after years of on-off deployments and private contracting. Usually, Gracie kept the porch lamp burning when she expected him. Tonight, it was off naturally, since she thought he'd be home 2 days later. He stepped out into the cold drizzle, chest tightening with anticipation. Soon he'd be inside, hugging his daughter, surprising Gracie. He fumbled with his keys, scanning the area automatically in a habit formed from working in both military and private security contexts. To his surprise, he noticed a second car parked discreetly along the curb, partially hidden by a large maple tree. It wasn't a neighbor's usual spot. A sense of alarm tingled. He recognized that make and model, a black Infiniti belonging to Dean Carter, an old friend of Gracie's from high school who lived across town. Leon had always felt vaguely uneasy about Dean, though he'd never had a concrete reason. Dean was single, wealthy, and well known for his carefree lifestyle. Leon's mouth went dry. Why would Dean's car be here at 1 a.m. on a random Thursday? He tried to calm his pounding heart. Maybe Dean needed help or it's some emergency. But any emergency at 1 a.m.? Then he remembered how Gracie had once casually mentioned running into Dean at the local coffee shop. Could it be something else? Still, he forced his mind to remain neutral until he had facts. He approached the front door, noticing the lights were off inside, except for a faint glow from the living room. He turned his key carefully in the lock, not wanting to make noise. The foyer was dim, the usual sense of home replaced by an odd hush. He set down his duffel bag, slipped off his shoes, and took a few steps. Where was Gracie's coat? Usually it hung on the peg near the door. Instead, Molly's jacket and some men's jacket he didn't recognize were there. That jacket was far too large to be Molly's or Gracie's. A wave of apprehension coursed through him. Quietly, he advanced into the living room. The TV flickered softly, displaying a paused streaming service, some half-watched show about real estate flipping. On the couch, partially under a throw blanket, sat Dean shirt off, eyes drooping with drowsiness. Next to him was Gracie, wearing only a long T-shirt, hair tousled, leaning against Dean's shoulder. They froze when they saw Leon. "Leon!" Gracie gasped, nearly dropping the remote. Her face paled. Dean jerked upright. "What the hell, man? I thought—" he stammered. Leon's mind roiled, adrenaline flooding his system. He forced himself to remain outwardly calm. "You thought I'd be gone another 2 days, right?" he replied in a low voice, each syllable crisp. Even while heartbreak tore at him, his training told him to keep a level head. "What's going on here?" Gracie scrambled to her feet, yanking the blanket to cover the lower half of her body. "Leon, this isn't what it looks like." Her eyes darted to Dean, who was stammering nonsense about just stopping by to talk about some volunteer project at church. But the evidence was plain. The disheveled couch, the hush of the house, the fact that Dean's shirt was lying on the coffee table. The swirl of conflicting emotions threatened to choke Leon. Anger, betrayal, sorrow. Yet he refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing him break down. "Is Molly in bed?" Leon asked softly, ignoring the roiling pit in his stomach. That was his priority, ensuring his daughter was safe. Gracie swallowed. "Yes? She's asleep upstairs." Leon glanced at Dean with an expression reminiscent of a predator zeroing in on prey. Dean couldn't meet his eyes, clearly embarrassed. "Look, Leon," he began lamely. "Gracie said you guys were having trouble, that you might not come back soon." "I see." Leon's tone was unnervingly calm. "Dean, I'm going to ask you to leave now. Unless you want me to forcibly remove you." Dean hesitated, then nodded hastily. He gathered his shirt, shoes, and keys, edging past Leon toward the door. "I'm sorry, man," was all he muttered before slinking out into the drizzle. The front door clicked shut, leaving Gracie and Leon in strained silence. Gracie tried to speak. "Leon, let me explain." He raised a hand, breathing deliberately. "Not here. I don't want Molly to wake up to a screaming match. We'll talk in the kitchen." He strode there, flipping on a low overhead light. The clock on the microwave read 1:22 a.m. Another jolt. He'd been gone for 2 months, and this was how he returned. Gracie followed, arms folded as if to conceal her state of undress. Leon turned to her, voice subdued but trembling with controlled fury. "How long?" She stared at the tiled floor, tears welling. "It started a month ago. We'd run into each other more often. He offered to fix the fence while you were gone. We spent more time together. It just happened." She choked on her words. I didn't plan it." He clenched his jaw. "Is that supposed to make it better? That it just happened? While I was out there representing your country, providing for this family?" The bitterness in his voice cut like a blade. "So, you let Dean Carter, of all people, into my home, letting him do—" He stopped, unable to articulate his horror. Gracie's tears spilled over. "Leon, you've been away so much. I felt lonely, neglected. We never see each other. And Dean was just someone I could talk to. And then—" He put up his hand again, face taut. "Save it. Is Molly aware? Did she see anything?" Gracie shook her head frantically. "No, never. We kept it discreet. She just thinks we're old friends." "That's a small mercy," Leon muttered. "If you had told me you were unhappy, we could have discussed a solution, counseling, changes. But you chose an affair with my so-called friend." His fists clenched at his sides. He inhaled, forcing composure. "Let's check on Molly. Then we decide how to proceed, because I'm not letting you sugarcoat this to her." Gracie wiped her eyes. "Leon, please, can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm so sorry." He felt a surge of disgust. "Your apology means nothing right now. I just want to see my daughter. We'll figure out the next steps in the morning." Without waiting for a response, he headed toward the stairs. Molly's bedroom door was half open, a nightlight giving the walls a soft glow. The 13-year-old lay curled up, blankets strewn around her. She stirred faintly when he entered. Despite his heartbreak, Leon's eyes brimmed with tears at the sight of his daughter. She'd grown taller, hair longer. He crouched quietly beside the bed, gently brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. "Dad?" she murmured, voice thick with sleep. Then she jolted. "Dad!" She sat up, flinging her arms around him. "You're back early!" Leon pulled her close, inhaling the comforting scent of her shampoo. "Yes, sweetheart. Got an early flight. Missed you so much." Molly rubbed her eyes. "I missed you too. Mom said you'd be home Friday, so this is a big surprise." Then her brow wrinkled, noticing the tension in his posture. "Is everything okay?" Leon forced a gentle smile. "Just a long flight, honey. Let's talk tomorrow. I want you to rest. We'll have breakfast together." He kissed her forehead. "I love you." She nodded, blinking. "Love you too, Dad." She sank back down, eyes drifting shut again. Leon lingered a moment, then retreated. At the bedroom door, he paused, heart heavy. This was the real victim of Gracie's betrayal, Molly, caught in a swirl of adult drama. He swore silently that he'd shield her from the worst of it, no matter what it took. Returning downstairs, he found the living room empty. Gracie must have gone to the master bedroom. The couch still bore traces of Dean's presence, which sickened him. He marched to the linen closet, yanked out fresh sheets and a pillow, then stripped the couch. He'd sleep here tonight if he could sleep at all. Before lying down, he locked all doors, turned off the TV, and stared into the darkness. Outside, the drizzle continued. Inside, he felt like a stranger in his own home. He'd handle this crisis with the same level-headed approach he applied to complex logistics problems. This was personal warfare now, a betrayal of trust. Step 1. Gather facts. Secure the innocent. Plan an appropriate response. He inhaled slowly, eyes burning. Tomorrow, the reckoning would begin. Chapter 2. Leon drifted in and out of fitful sleep on the living room couch. At first light, he gave up and rose, phone in hand. No messages from Gracie. In the kitchen, he brewed coffee, trying to steel himself for the conversation ahead. He mentally listed priorities. Molly's well-being first, clarify the extent of Gracie's betrayal, and then decide whether to attempt salvage or proceed with separation. The sense of betrayal knifed him again, recalling how easily she'd turned to Dean. He heard soft footsteps behind him. Molly padded in, hair rumpled, wearing pajama bottoms and a sweatshirt. "Morning, Dad," she yawned. "You look like you barely slept." "Morning, sweetheart." Leon forced a smile, pouring her some orange juice. "I had trouble adjusting from the flight." He left it at that, not wanting to burden her with details. "You want eggs or cereal?" "Cereal is fine," she mumbled, taking a seat at the small kitchen table. After a moment, she peered at him, eyes alert. "Where's Mom?" Leon exhaled. "She's still upstairs, I think. We'll talk together soon." Before Molly could press further, he ruffled her hair. "Let's enjoy breakfast first. Then I'll drop you at school, okay?" He had to keep her routine stable. No matter how furious he was, upending her life all at once would be reckless. She nodded, though curiosity flickered on her face. She must have sensed the tension. In near silence, they had breakfast. Leon forced down a few bites of toast, stomach churning. Halfway through, Gracie emerged, dressed in leggings and a sweater, hair pulled into a messy bun. She paused at the kitchen threshold, eyes flicking between Leon and Molly. The tension crackled. Molly stared at her mother with confusion. "Mom, Dad's back. Isn't that great?" She tried for a bright tone, but Gracie's expression remained grave. Gracie mustered a weak smile. "Yes, honey. It's good he's home." She cleared her throat. Maybe I'll make some tea." She glanced at Leon, silently asking if they should discuss the situation now. Leon shook his head slightly. Not in front of Molly. After breakfast, Molly went upstairs to get ready for school. Leon cornered Gracie by the sink, speaking in a low murmur. "We need a plan for how to handle this with Molly. Are you going to come clean about your affair?" His voice trembled slightly on the word affair. She flushed. "Leon, let's not say affair in front of her. It's complicated. She's just a child." "She's 13, not stupid," Leon bit back. "She'll see right through half-truths. Or do you plan to keep lying?" Gracie shut her eyes. "I don't know. I'm so ashamed. I never meant to look. Can we talk tonight after she's at a friend's or something?" He snorted. "Fine. But I'm not letting you paint me as a distant father who left you no choice. This was your decision." Then he inhaled. "I'm taking Molly to school. We'll talk after that." She lowered her gaze. "All right." Leon took Molly to school, and as they pulled up, she finally asked, "Dad, are you and Mom fighting? I feel like something's weird." She fiddled with the straps of her backpack. Leon parked, turning to face her. "Your mom and I have some serious issues to work out, yes. But I love you, and that won't change. Understand?" She nodded, anxiety flickering in her eyes. "Okay. I hope everything's okay." She reached over and gave him a quick hug. "Thanks for bringing me, Dad. I'm so glad you're back." He swallowed hard. "Me too, Malls. We'll figure it out." She hopped out. He watched her join her friends, shoulders hunched slightly. The sight broke his heart. That vow formed again in his mind. He would protect her from the mess his wife created. Back home, the confrontation with Gracie began in earnest. They sat at the dining table, sun streaming through the windows onto half-packed holiday decorations that Leon now found mocking. He folded his arms. No more stalling. Tell me how serious this is. Gracie stared at her hands. Leon, I guess it started about 5 weeks ago. Dean came by to help with some yard work. We started talking, venting about how you were always gone, how lonely I felt, and it just escalated. We slept together a few times. Her voice shook. I kept telling him it was a mistake, but he said he had feelings for me, and I was too weak to stop it. Leon's lips curled in contempt. A few times, right. He forced a calm tone. Did you ever plan to inform me, or was the goal to keep me in the dark forever? She teared up. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to confess, but I was afraid you'd walk away or react violently. Then time passed, and it just got deeper. I told Dean it had to end, but... She broke off, tears sliding down her cheeks. Leon's mind seethed. What about Molly? Did you consider the impact if she found out? Gracie nodded miserably. I told Dean we had to be discreet. She never saw anything inappropriate. I was thinking we'd stop. I swear. Last night was supposed to be the final time. He scoffed. I'm sure. So what now? You think you can just say sorry, and we move on? He drummed his fingers on the table, voice low. Because I can't just pretend this didn't happen. You broke trust in the most personal way. She swallowed. I want to try to fix this if you'll let me. I'm sorry, truly. I'll cut ties with Dean. I'll do therapy or counseling. I never wanted to destroy our marriage. It was a stupid, selfish fling. Her tears fell onto the table. Leon stared, emotions torn. He felt a flicker of pity, but overshadowing that was anger and a sense of betrayal so strong it made his chest ache. We might consider counseling for Molly's sake, he conceded after a long pause. But I'm not guaranteeing anything. Let's separate for now. I'm sleeping in the spare room. We'll focus on giving Molly stability while I figure out if I can even stand to be around you long term. She nodded, trembling. I understand. He stood, feeling suffocated. I need air. He grabbed his jacket. Don't call Dean. If you do, I'll know. He left her there, stepping onto the front porch. The day was bright, but inside him, everything felt bleak. As he walked down the street, he spotted a neighbor, Clarence Reed, who gave him a wave. Clarence was a retired Marine gunnery sergeant, living quietly with his wife. Leon had chatted with him occasionally. He wondered if Clarence had any inkling of what happened. Approaching him, Leon forced a small smile. Morning, Clarence. Clarence nodded, scanning Leon's face. You okay, pal? Heard you were overseas again. You're back early? Leon exhaled. He debated whether to share. But Clarence had a reputation for being straightforward, and maybe an outsider's perspective could help. Let's just say I discovered something at home that changes everything. Clarence's eyes narrowed, picking up the subtext. Betrayal? Leon nodded tersely. Yeah. From someone I considered a friend, too. Clarence let out a low whistle. That's tough, Leon. If you need anything, just say the word. Leon mustered gratitude. Thanks. Right now I'm trying to handle it privately, but I appreciate the support. They parted ways. The conversation reminded Leon that there were good people out there who understood loyalty. Another wave of rage shook him as he thought of Dean, a worthless scoundrel who'd taken advantage of Gracie's vulnerability. Then again, Gracie allowed it. She, too, was guilty. Returning home, he found Gracie rummaging in the pantry, eyes red. Molly's soccer practice is tomorrow. She'll expect us both to be there, she said, softly. Leon rubbed his temples. We'll keep up normal appearances for Molly's sake, but we're telling her that we're having issues. She's old enough to know something's up. Gracie nodded, tears starting again. I swear I'll do whatever it takes to make amends. I love you. Leon. He couldn't bear to hear it, so he turned away. I'm not sure I love you right now. The words stung even as he said them. He climbed the stairs to the spare room, leaving her in silent despair. All day he wrestled with conflicting impulses. To confront Dean physically, to lash out, or to meticulously plan a more cunning approach. Thanks to his background, he leaned toward the latter. He found himself listing steps in a notebook. 1. Secure Molly's emotional well-being. 2. Gather intel on how extensive this affair was, any co-conspirators. 3. Assess legal financial aspects if separation or divorce is next. 4. Determine consequences for Dean. He stared at the fourth bullet. Consequences for Dean. A part of him wanted a savage fight, but that might land him in jail or cost him custody of Molly if it escalated. Another part recognized that subtle, strategic revenge would be more fitting and safer. He recalled that Dean was a high-level sales rep at a tech firm, rumored to cut corners. Leon had overheard someone mention potential shady deals. If that was true, maybe Leon could use that, or at least keep it in mind as a pressure point. By late afternoon, Molly came home from school, uncertain about the tension. Gracie pretended normalcy. Leon forced a facade of calm. They all had dinner, but conversation was stilted. Molly retreated to her room early, obviously troubled. After dinner, Leon informed Gracie he'd be taking a drive. She didn't protest. He ended up at a small diner on the edge of town, ordering coffee while scanning the local phone listings. Searching for Dean Carter, he found his official address. But he also recalled rumors that Dean had an apartment in the city for nights he wanted to party. Maybe he'd investigate that later. The calm, systematic approach to heartbreak felt surreal. But Leon had always compartmentalized strong emotions, turning them into problem-solving tasks. This situation was no different. He refused to be just another devastated husband. He texted a longtime friend, Reagan, who'd known him since college. They'd served together on logistical missions in the past. If anyone could empathize, it was Reagan. Back stateside, urgent personal matter, need your insights. Reagan responded promptly. I'm around. Let's meet tomorrow. Leon left the diner more resolute. He had an ally. Even if he was stepping into personal warfare, at least he wasn't alone. That night, after Molly went to bed, Gracie approached him. Leon, are we sleeping in separate rooms? He stared at her, expression cold. Yes. I can't share a bed with you right now. She bit her lip, tears brimming. I get it. Just, please, let's do therapy or something. I regret everything. He almost felt pity for her. Almost. We can discuss therapy. But right now, I want to be alone. He closed the spare room door, leaving her in the hallway, sobbing. The muffled sound wrenched his heart, but it was overshadowed by betrayal's sting. Lying in bed, Leon scrolled through old photos on his phone, images from happier times, family vacations, silly selfies with Molly. A pang of grief cut through him. What had gone wrong? Where had the closeness eroded, letting Dean slip in? He exhaled, thinking about the next day's plan. Talk to Reagan, gather more intel on Dean, ensure Molly's routine stays normal, and watch Gracie carefully. He vowed not to lose composure again. If Dean thought he'd won sleeping with Leon's wife, he was sorely mistaken. War had begun, and Leon Hamilton was well-versed in playing the long game. Chapter 3. The next morning, Leon rose early, dropping Molly at soccer practice. He politely refused Gracie's offer to join them in the car, not wanting to trap Molly in that tension. He'd pick his daughter up afterward, then meet Reagan in the afternoon. The day felt laden with unresolved tension. Molly seemed subdued. Dad, is everything going to be okay? She ventured. Leon softened. We'll be fine, Malls. Sometimes adults go through tough times. You're my priority, always. She nodded, forcing a smile. I have a game next Friday. Will you come? Leon smiled back. Wouldn't miss it. After dropping her off, he drove to a small coffee house near downtown. Reagan was already there, nursing a latte. Reagan was about Leon's age, ex-military turned private logistics consultant. They embraced briefly. Man, you look rough, Reagan said, scanning Leon's face. What happened? Leon settled across from him, explaining in clipped sentences how he came home early and found Gracie with Dean. Reagan's eyes narrowed. Dean Carter? That slime? I heard rumors about him. Leon sipped coffee, feeling tension coil. Rumors like what? Reagan shrugged. He's known for messing around. Married women, engaged women, no scruples. He brags about it at certain social clubs. Even in business, he's rumored to do shady deals. I never liked him. Leon exhaled. This confirmed his suspicions. I'm leaning toward systematic payback, but Molly's well-being is top priority. Reagan nodded sympathetically. Of course. But don't let them walk all over you either. If Gracie tries to spin a narrative that you're partly to blame, fight it. And as for Dean, if you want to expose him, I can help gather data. Our old contact in corporate compliance might have a file on him. Leon's eyes lit up with cunning. Yes, that might be valuable. If he's dishonest in business, I can approach his superiors or clients discreetly. They talked strategy for an hour, hashing out possible approaches. 1. Legal. If divorce becomes necessary, Leon wants to secure custody or shared custody. 2. Financial. Protect any joint assets from being siphoned off or misused by Gracie. 3. Reputation. If Dean's wrongdoing is extensive, ensure it surfaces publicly. Reagan typed notes on his tablet. We'll do it carefully. No rash moves. Meanwhile, how's Gracie reacting? Leon's jaw tightened. She claims regret, wants therapy, but I'm not sure if it's genuine or guilt-driven. She's still living at our house for Molly's sake. We're in a weird limbo. Reagan gave him a measured look. If you want to salvage the marriage, therapy is an option. But if it's irreparable, you might lay the groundwork for divorce. I've seen guys get blindsided in court. Leon's eyes hardened. Yes, I've started copying financial records, bank statements, mortgage info. I won't be blindsided. Reagan patted his shoulder. Attaboy. Meanwhile, I'll see what I can dig up on Dean's shady side. With that, they parted, each with tasks to accomplish. Leon felt a flicker of empowerment. If Dean thought he could scurry away unscathed, he was wrong. At midday, Leon returned home to find Gracie cleaning the kitchen. She turned off the faucet, eyes flicking to him nervously. How was your morning? He set his keys down. Fine. Had coffee with a friend. Next, I'm picking up Molly. He glanced at the clock. We need to talk about living arrangements. I can't live in the same bedroom with you, and if this affair continues, we can't share a house. Gracie's eyes welled up. I ended it with Dean. I swear it's over. He studied her face. How do I know? You lied for weeks. She swallowed. Look, if you want me out, I'll go. But please, Molly, this is her home. Maybe I can move to my parents' place temporarily. Just don't push her away from me. Her voice shook. Leon exhaled, torn. I won't prevent you from seeing Molly if you remain civil, but maybe it's best you stay at your parents' or get a short-term rental. Let's keep a calm environment for her. Then we can discuss therapy and the future. Gracie nodded miserably. I'll do that. I'll pack some things tonight. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. They both paused. Leon opened the door cautiously. Dean stood there, eyes puffy, face tense. Gracie, we need to talk, he began, ignoring Leon's presence. You haven't answered my calls. Leon bristled, stepping onto the porch and pulling the door closed behind him so Molly wouldn't hear if she returned soon. "What the hell are you doing here?" Dean glared. "This is between me and Gracie. We had a connection, man." Leon's rage flared. "We had a connection, man. Are you serious?" He took a step closer, voice dangerously quiet. "You waltz into my house at 1 a.m., sleep with my wife, and think you can just show up unannounced to speak with her?" Dean raised his hands. "I'm sorry, truly. But Gracie said she was unhappy, that you'd grown distant." Leon cut him off. "Shut your mouth, Carter. I told Gracie to cut all contact with you. If you have half a brain, you'll leave her alone. She's done with you." Dean's expression flickered between guilt and defiance. "I care about her, you know. She was lonely. You were never around. Don't act like the victim maybe you forced her into my arms." Leon suppressed a violent urge. "Stay away from my family," he repeated icily, "or I'll show you exactly how a cornered man can retaliate. Understood?" Dean looked rattled, but tried a sneer. "You think you can bully me? I have resources too. If Gracie wants me, she'll find me." Leon's jaw tightened. "This conversation is over. Get off my property." He stepped back, fists clenched. Dean turned and stalked off, muttering curses under his breath. Leon watched him drive away, heart pounding with fury. He forced himself to breathe. The confrontation left him seething but determined. Dean's arrogance only fueled Leon's resolve to bring him down a notch or many notches. Back inside, Gracie hovered anxiously near the door. "I heard raised voices. Is he gone?" Leon locked the door. "He's gone. Don't even consider meeting him. If you do, you'll confirm that all this regret is just an act." Gracie shuddered. "I promise I won't. I want to fix things with you, or at least not make them worse." She wrung her hands. "I'll start packing for my parents' house." Leon watched her retreat upstairs. He felt numb, exhausted from the drama, yet a slow-burning anger simmered. This was just the beginning. That evening, after picking Molly up from soccer practice, he gently explained that her mother would be staying with her grandparents for a little while. Due to serious issues, they needed space to resolve. Molly looked distressed, but he reassured her that both parents still loved her. She cried softly, and he held her, grief stabbing him anew. He realized that in pursuit of revenge or justice, he couldn't lose sight of Molly's emotional well-being. She was innocent in all of this. After Gracie left for her parents that night, the house felt empty. Leon put Molly to bed, then sank onto the living room couch, mind churning. He typed a text to Reagan. "Need that info on Dean as soon as possible." Reagan promptly replied, "Tomorrow." Leon closed his eyes. The separation from Gracie might be permanent. Perhaps they could attempt therapy, but trust was shattered. He felt sure that even if he tried reconciling, Dean's intrusion had broken something fundamental. He wouldn't let her manipulate him into a patch-up just because she was guilty. No, she had to face real consequences. And Dean would regret trifling with Leon's family. Chapter 4. The following morning, Leon woke early, dressing in a crisp button-down and slacks. He had arranged to meet Reagan for coffee again, this time at a different place near Reagan's office. Molly was at school, Gracie was gone, and the quiet house reminded him how quickly life could change. He arrived at the cafe to find Reagan waiting with a thick folder. "Got quite the scoop on Dean Carter," Reagan said, a satisfied grin on his face. They grabbed a corner booth away from prying ears. Reagan opened the folder. "He's a senior sales rep at a big software solutions firm. He's been suspected of bribing procurement officers, forging sales leads, and inflating commissions. A buddy of mine in corporate compliance says his name popped up in multiple suspicious transaction logs." Reagan flipped a page. Here are screenshots of some questionable email chains. Carter's been on the edge of an internal investigation for months. Leon's lips curled in a grim smile. So, he's not just a homewrecker, but a professional con man. Perfect. Reagan nodded. He also borrowed money from shady lenders to maintain his flashy lifestyle. Could be vulnerable to blackmail or extortion if word gets out. He tapped another sheet. I have a contact at his software firm's HR department. With the right nudge, we can tip them off to these findings, perhaps accelerate an official inquiry. Leon's mind raced, formulating possibilities. If he loses his job and faces an internal probe, that's a direct blow. Combine that with potential legal or financial troubles, he'll be cornered. He closed the folder. This might be enough for a first strike. Reagan pursed his lips. But be careful. He might retaliate. Also, if he's truly that unscrupulous, he might attempt to spin some narrative about you or dig up dirt. Are you prepared? Leon nodded, voice steely. I have nothing to hide. My record is clean, my finances are stable, and I've done nothing unethical. Let him try. They parted ways, each determined. Leon left with that folder in hand, a new sense of purpose fueling him. If Gracie's betrayal stung, punishing Dean for the role he played in destroying Leon's home felt like a necessary step. At midday, Leon sat in his home office, now unshared, compiling files. Screenshots of messages Gracie had left on their shared computer, indicating the timeline of her affair with Dean. He cross-referenced them with the logs from Reagan, confirming that Dean had been frequenting the neighborhood even before the affair was fully physical. The pattern sickened him. He saw how cunningly Dean had inserted himself into Gracie's lonely nights, disguised as a helpful friend. He also discovered that Dean had once suggested to Gracie that she push Leon for a divorce while he was away, an alarming conversation snippet. She hadn't explicitly agreed, but the mere fact he suggested it proved how manipulative he was. Leon's fury flared. He typed a carefully worded email to the HR contact Reagan mentioned, attaching select pieces of evidence of Dean's questionable deals. He claimed to be a concerned party, maintaining anonymity. Then he scheduled the email to send that evening, timing it for maximum disruption. Monday morning was a prime time for internal investigations to blow up. While he worked, the phone rang. It was Gracie. He hesitated, then answered curtly. Yes? She sounded frazzled. Leon, can we talk tonight? I've arranged a counseling session with Pastor Clarence E.R. I mean, not Clarence the neighbor, but our church pastor. He thinks we should have a mediated conversation. Leon's jaw tightened. I'm not sure if I want a churchled session. The pastor is your friend. Might not be impartial. Gracie's voice wavered. But at least it's a start. I want a chance to fix things. For Molly's sake. Let's do it, please. He rubbed his temples, feeling torn. For the sake of being thorough, he decided it wouldn't hurt to hear her out in a neutral environment. Fine. Tonight, 7 p.m. I'll drop Molly at a friend's and meet you at the church. She exhaled relief. Thank you. He hung up, a swirl of conflicting emotions roiling. Even as he orchestrated Dean's downfall, he wasn't sure how to proceed with Gracie. The conversation might clarify whether reconciliation was possible or if divorce was inevitable. That evening, Leon drove to the church, dropping Molly at her friend Reagan's wife's place. She'd watch Molly for an hour. The memory of Gracie's volunteer work here made the building feel tainted. He recalled how she once taught Sunday school. Now, he dreaded stepping inside. The pastor, a kindly older man named Clarence Barnell, not to be confused with neighbor Clarence Reed, greeted them in his small office. Gracie was already seated, eyes red. The pastor motioned Leon to join them. I'm sorry about the circumstances, Pastor Clarence said gently, folding his hands. But I believe open dialogue can sometimes heal wounds. Leon inhaled. We'll see. I'm here to speak the truth. Gracie betrayed our marriage with Dean Carter. He shot her a hard look. She claims regret. Pastor nodded. Gracie, you told me you want forgiveness. Have you fully ended contact with Mr. Carter? She nodded vigorously. Yes, I blocked his number. I told him it's over. I want to salvage my marriage if possible. Leon spoke in a level tone. I might attend therapy with you for Molly's sake, but I'm not guaranteeing reconciliation. This betrayal is deep. My trust in you is shattered. Pastor Clarence turned to Leon, calm. I understand. Betrayal is painful. Sometimes couples can rebuild if there's genuine repentance. Sometimes separation or divorce is the outcome. The choice is yours. Leon's fists tightened. What exactly do you propose, Pastor? That I just forgive and forget? My life was turned upside down. My wife welcomed another man into my home, my bed. Presumably, and now she's sorry. Gracie trembled, tears falling. Leon, I know I messed up. I'd do anything to undo it. I never loved Dean. It was a fling, a stupid escape from loneliness. I love you, truly. He studied her tear-streaked face, heart twisting. The memory of good times, their wedding day, the birth of Molly, all clashed with images of her cozying up to Dean. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have done this. You had other ways to express loneliness, talk to me, therapy, separation, if needed. But you chose an affair. The pastor interjected softly. Gracie, do you accept full responsibility for your actions? She nodded, voice trembling. Yes, 100%. Leon, I won't blame you or justify myself. Please, let's try counseling. I'll do whatever it takes, move back in with my parents as long as needed. Sign a postnuptial to prove my sincerity, anything. Leon stared at her. The sincerity might be real, or it might be panic. He glanced at the pastor, who offered a gentle smile. Sometimes structured couples therapy helps. If Leon is willing, you can attempt a process of healing. If not, you must prepare for a different path. Leon forced down his bitterness. Fine. I'll attend a few sessions. For Molly's sake, I want to at least see if it's salvageable, but if I sense any more lies or contact with Dean, I'm done. Gracie burst into sobs of relief. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, I promise, no more lies. The pastor ended with a prayer for healing, which Leon tolerated stoically. His mind was only half present. Another part was strategizing. He'd check if Gracie truly cut off contact. He'd watch for subterfuge. Meanwhile, he had set in motion the infiltration of Dean's professional life. Outside, Gracie tried to hug Leon. He allowed a brief, stiff embrace. She whispered, Thank you, I love you. Please believe me. He extracted himself gently. We'll see. He returned to pick up Molly, his heart heavy. The promise to attempt therapy felt hollow, but at least it gave him time to plan. Possibly, Gracie could earn partial redemption if she truly atoned. But if not, he'd finalize the divorce. That night, he scrolled through the family photo album on his phone, tears burning his eyes. The sense of betrayal overshadowed everything. Then his phone pinged an email from an anonymous address. Check the next board meeting. Dean's name is on the agenda. Leon recognized it as Reagan's discreet code. Indeed, the software firm's board meeting was next Monday. Perfect timing. He felt a savage satisfaction. Let the chaos begin. Chapter 5. Leon pressed his phone to his ear, stepping outside into the brisk late autumn air. The sun had yet to rise, painting the horizon with a thin band of violet. He rarely slept well these days between the upheaval at home and the seething anger roiling beneath his calm exterior. Insomnia had become the norm. He listened as Reagan's voice crackled on the line. "Just got word," Reagan said. "Dean's software firm is holding that board meeting Monday morning. My contact in HR says your Anonymous's tip arrived on their compliance desk right on schedule." Leon exhaled slowly, relief mixing with anticipation. "Good. That means the evidence of his shady deals should be on the table," Reagan confirmed. "Yes, they can't ignore it. He's on the short list for internal investigation. I suspect he'll face suspension or forced resignation soon." A grim smile crossed Leon's face. "Perfect. Let's keep the pressure up. We want him distracted, scrambling. Meanwhile, I'll ensure Gracie sees zero reason to communicate with him." It was a vow he'd made to himself. If Gracie truly wanted redemption, she'd have no contact with the man who had invaded Leon's family life. If she faltered, well, Leon had a different path in mind, one that ended in divorce and full custody for him. The plan was in motion. He ended the call and inhaled the chilly air. He had an early therapy session with Gracie at a professional marriage counselor's office, followed by a planned lunch with a new contact, Clarence, the Marine neighbor, who had offered quiet support. Leon intended to keep building alliances, gathering facts. If there was any chance to salvage the marriage, he'd do it methodically. If not, he'd ensure Gracie faced real consequences. 7:30 a.m. Leon parked in front of a small brick building. A discreet sign read, "Dr. Harriet Bowman, licensed marriage and family therapist." He felt a pang of resentment. "I shouldn't even be here," he thought, but for Molly's sake. He spotted Gracie waiting by the entrance, coat pulled tight against the chill. She looked exhausted. Her eyes flicked over him nervously. "Leon," she said softly. He offered a terse nod. "Morning." They stepped inside the waiting room, greeted by a calm pastel decor. After a few minutes, Dr. Harriet Bowman emerged, a woman in her 50s with a professional yet warm demeanor. She ushered them into her office. Chairs arranged in a small circle, a desk off to one side. They sat, avoiding eye contact. Dr. Bowman read from her notes. "So you're Leon and Gracie Hamilton, married 12 years, currently separated due to an affair. You have a 13-year-old daughter, Molly. You've agreed to a counseling session to explore your options. Is that accurate?" Leon inclined his head. "Yes, that's correct." Gracie clutched a tissue, voice trembling. I cheated on him while he was away for work. Now I want to repair the marriage, or at least see if it's possible." Leon's jaw tightened. "I'm here because I promised to keep an open mind for Molly. But I'm not convinced this marriage can be saved." Dr. Bowman nodded, calm. "Betrayal is a severe wound. Sometimes couples do rebuild trust. Sometimes not. Let's begin by clarifying your immediate goals." Gracie swallowed. "I want Leon to see how sorry I am, how it was a mistake, not a reflection of my lack of love. I also want to protect Molly from too much upheaval." Leon kept his tone measured. "I want to ensure Molly's well-being, and I want clarity. Gracie claims she ended the affair, but how do I trust that? She hid it for weeks." Dr. Bowman guided them through an hour of discussion. Gracie recounted her feelings of loneliness, how Leon's frequent travels left her feeling unmoored. Leon retorted that he'd always tried to be communicative, but her solution, an affair with his friend, was inexcusable. The counselor prompted them to express hurt and fear. Gracie wept, apologizing multiple times. Leon fought to keep his composure. At the session's close, Dr. Bowman summarized, "Gracie, you must show absolute transparency, no secrets about phones, schedules, or finances. Leon, if you want to consider reconciliation, you must remain open to the possibility that the relationship can change. I recommend weekly sessions if you're willing. Leon nodded tersely. He'd expected coddling, but Dr. Bowman's direct approach impressed him slightly. He glowered at Gracie. All right, we can do weekly sessions, but the moment I sense deception, I'm done. Gracie whispered. Thank you. She reached for his hand reflexively, but he pulled away. Hurt flickered across her face. Then, as they stepped outside, Gracie's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and hesitated. A muscle in Leon's jaw twitched. Who is it? She quickly flipped it face down. It's just a reminder. Let me turn it off. She fiddled with settings. Leon studied her reaction. He'd see if she was telling the truth. Possibly it was a text from Dean. If so, she was already violating the pledge to cut ties. He stifled the immediate urge to snatch the phone. He'd gather intel calmly. All right, he said coolly. I'll walk you to your car. She nodded, inwardly trembling. They parted ways with a tense goodbye, promising to meet next week for the next session. Leon felt suspicious about that phone call. He'd address it soon. Later that morning, Leon headed to a modest diner near his neighborhood to meet Clarence Reed, the retired Marine neighbor who had offered to talk further. They slid into a booth. Clarence wore a casual jacket, posture erect, exuding quiet discipline. Clarence gave him a firm handshake. Heard about your situation? Some folks around the neighborhood suspect an affair. I guess it's not rumor anymore. Leon sighed. No, it's real. Gracie cheated with Dean Carter. Clarence's lips compressed into a line. That snake! I always found him untrustworthy. Sorry you have to deal with that. Leon sipped coffee. Thank you. I need to ensure Molly's life remains stable, but also, I won't let them ruin me. I'm prepared to fight if necessary. Clarence nodded, thoughtful. Word is, Dean's not just messing with wives, but also dabbling in unscrupulous business. If you need any local connections or want background checks, I know a few folks in private security around here. Leon's eyes lit up. Yes, actually. My friend Reagan is already helping on that front, but local contacts might help me gather more on Dean's daily life, who he associates with, etc. Clarence gave a faint smile. I can do that. My cousin works part-time for a private detective firm, Marlowe and Associates. She might run discreet surveillance if you want. Could confirm if Dean's truly still trying to contact Gracie, or if he's flaunting some new fling. Leon considered. That might be useful. Let's do it. I'll pay for discreet surveillance, phone record checks. Keep me updated. Understood, Clarence said simply. Sometimes dealing with betrayal is like a small war. Gather intel, strike at vulnerabilities. Leon's gaze turned steely. Exactly. Dean invaded my family. I'll respond accordingly. They parted with a sense of mutual understanding. Leon felt a renewed determination. Each step methodical, each piece of evidence building a case. Not just legally, but morally, he planned to ensure Dean suffered the fallout, that Gracie recognized the enormity of her mistake, and that Molly remained unscathed. That evening, Leon cooked pasta for Molly, trying to keep life normal. She eyed him curiously. Dad, are you and Mom? Did you do therapy? He forced a half-smile. Yes, we did. We're going to see if we can fix our problems. Just remember, none of this is your fault. We both love you. Molly nodded, stirring her spaghetti. I hope it works out. But if it doesn't, I understand. I'm old enough to know that not all marriages last. I want us to be okay. Leon's heart pinched with sorrow. We will be, kiddo. That's a promise. As she cleared her plate, he studied her. The resilience in her eyes reminded him of himself, calm in adversity. He silently vowed once more never to let the chaos harm her irreparably. Then Molly hesitated. "Dad, can I ask something weird? Did Mom cheat because you were gone so much?" Leon swallowed. He dreaded that question. "It's not that simple, sweetheart. People can be lonely, but it's still a choice to cheat, not an inevitability. She had other options to fix the problem or talk to me. She decided on betrayal, which was wrong." Molly blinked back tears. "I get it. I just didn't want you to think you're the bad guy." Leon's chest tightened. He reached out, ruffling her hair. "I appreciate that. I promise you we'll handle it. And you can always talk to me about your feelings." She mustered a wavering smile. "Thanks, Dad." Late that night, after Molly was asleep, Leon's phone buzzed. A text from Reagan. "Got deeper intel from the software firm. Dean's under internal review. Also, rumor says he borrowed $50K from a loan shark. Potential meltdown imminent." Leon allowed a grim satisfaction. The meltdown was precisely what he wanted Dean cornered, losing status, finances in disarray. Let him feel the betrayal he inflicted upon Leon's home. He typed back, "Keep me posted. Next step soon." 3 a.m. Leon's phone rang, jarring him from restless sleep. He saw an unfamiliar number. Fearing an emergency, he answered groggily. "Hello?" A shaky female voice whispered. "Leon, this is Molly's phone, help me." He bolted upright. "Who is this?" "It's Gracie," the voice said, trembling. "I'm using Molly's old phone that was left in the drawer at your house. Dean forced me to come see him. I'm afraid. Please, can you come? I'm at that roadside motel near Pine Creek." Leon's heart pounded, adrenaline surging. "Why the hell are you with Dean at 3 a.m.? You said you ended it." "I did. He cornered me outside my parents' house tonight. Said he needed closure. Threatened to spread lies about me if I didn't talk. So I stupidly agreed to meet him. Now he's drunk and I locked myself in the bathroom. I'm scared." Her breath hitched. "Please, Leon. I know I messed up, but I need help." Conflicting emotions raged. Fury that she'd let herself be in this position, concern for her safety. Finally, his training took over. "Don't move. Stay locked in the bathroom. I'll be there in 10 minutes. He threw on jeans and a jacket, grabbed his keys. Before leaving, he paused by Molly's door. She was asleep, oblivious. He quietly texted Clarence next door. "Emergency. Keep an eye on my house. Daughter's inside." Clarence replied instantly. "Copy. On it." Then Leon sped off, raging at the stupidity of it all. Why would Gracie risk meeting Dean alone? But no time for blame. He arrived at the shabby motel, heart pounding, scanning the parked cars. Dean's flashy Infiniti was there, lights off. He approached the second-floor walkway, hearing muffled yelling. He found room 209, door slightly ajar. The stench of alcohol wafted out. Inside, the lights flickered. "Gracie?" he called, pushing the door open. Dean stood near the bed, swaying, reeking of whiskey, face twisted in anger. He spun. You followed her?" Leon's eyes blazed. "She called me Carter. Where is she?" Dean sneered. "Locked herself in the bathroom. Bitch told you? She owes me an explanation. She can't just toss me aside." Leon stepped forward, fists tight. "Open that bathroom door. Now." Dean tensed. "Screw you. She's mine. You deserted her. She said so." His words slurred. "We had something real." Leon clenched his jaw, voice deadly calm. "You want to fight, Carter?" His training guided him. "First, ensure Gracie's safety. You step aside, or I'll put you down." Dean tried lunging, half stumbling. Leon easily sidestepped, hooking Dean's arm in a precise maneuver. With a swift twist, Dean crumpled, cursing. Leon pressed him to the bed, adrenaline surging. "If you're wise, you'll stay down." He saw the bathroom door was locked. He heard Gracie's muffled sobs. "Gracie, open up. It's me." A click, and the door cracked open. Gracie peered out, mascara streaked, face pale. She rushed into the room, clutching her purse. Dean tried lunging again. Leon shoved him backward, sending him sprawling across the bed. "You want to test me, Carter?" Dean stared, breath ragged, fear flickering in his eyes. "Get out, both of you! This is my room!" Leon jerked his head at Gracie. "Go! I'll handle him!" She fled into the hallway. Leon leveled a cold gaze at Dean. "Next time you corner her or threaten her, you answer to me." "Understood?" Dean spat. "She's not your property. She chose me, remember?" Leon's knuckles whitened. "She regrets it, apparently. And you're done. Now sleep off your booze." He turned on his heel, leaving Dean slumped. Out in the corridor, Gracie shook uncontrollably. "Thank you. I'm sorry. He scared me." Leon felt a surge of exasperated pity. "We'll talk about your poor judgment later. Let's get you to your parents' place." They drove in tense silence, the air thick with the stench of Dean's betrayal. Finally, Gracie sobbed. "I never wanted to see him again, but he threatened to spread rumors, pictures. He had some texts that might ruin me." Leon stiffened. "So he's blackmailing you?" She nodded miserably. "Yes. He said if I don't keep hooking up, he'll claim I seduced him while you were away. Make me look worse in any divorce or custody. I was terrified." Leon's anger flared. "He's messing with the wrong family. I'll handle him. Next time, call me sooner or call the police. Don't meet him alone." She sniffled. "I know. I was desperate." He dropped her at her parents' driveway. She paused, blinking at him. "Thank you, Leon. I owe you." He stared at her. "You owe me a lot more than thanks. Just be safe." She nodded and slipped inside. Leon drove away, mind spinning. Dean had sunk even lower, using blackmail to cling to Gracie. The man was a predator, and Leon would see him crushed. The next day, Leon updated Reagan about the confrontation. Reagan was furious on Leon's behalf. "This scumbag is trying blackmail? Let's accelerate our meltdown plan. I'll get the internal compliance folks to move quickly, and we'll share some of the blackmail angle if we can prove it." Leon agreed. "Yes, let's do it. Dean needs to be too busy covering his own ass to bother Gracie." Even if Leon felt betrayed by Gracie, he refused to let Dean continue terrorizing her or blackmailing the mother of his child. In parallel, Clarence Reed's detective cousin reported a lead. Apparently, Dean also had a second phone used for shady communications. If they could get logs, it'd confirm blackmail or more unethical deals. Leon saw a chance to bury Dean thoroughly. Thus, the infiltration of Dean's life continued, each piece of intel a nail in his professional coffin. Meanwhile, Leon stoically went through marriage therapy sessions with Gracie, never once letting her know about the sabotage he was unleashing on Dean. She occasionally asked if he'd do anything rash, but he gave non-committal answers. She was in no position to demand transparency from him. The final day of the week brought a swirl of events. 1. Dean faced his board meeting, rumors of an internal compliance officer presenting evidence of fraudulent sales. 2. Gracie attended a second therapy session with Leon, sobbing about her near fiasco with Dean at the motel. 3. Molly performed in a school talent show that evening, expecting both parents to appear civil. Leon felt the day might be a pivot point. He woke with a sense of calm readiness, like a commander before a crucial operation. That evening, Leon arrived at the school auditorium, his expression carefully neutral. He spotted Gracie in a seat near the front, an empty chair beside her. She wore a subdued sweater, hair pinned back, eyes scanning for him anxiously. The tension between them was tangible, but for Molly's sake, They both tried to act normal. When Molly stepped on stage with a small group of classmates, singing a short choral piece, Leon's heart swelled with pride. She sang her part beautifully, posture confident. He clapped enthusiastically, feeling a pang that their family life had become so precarious. Gracie clapped too, tears in her eyes, likely half from the music, half from guilt. After the performance, Molly joined them in the hallway. "Mom, Dad, did you see me?" She beamed, hugging them both. Leon patted her head, forcing a smile. "You were amazing, Malls." Gracie tried a trembling smile, whispering, "Yes, so proud of you, sweet girl." They walked out into the chilly night together. At the parking lot, Molly parted ways with her friends, returning to Leon's car. Gracie lingered, voice hushed. "Leon, could we talk alone? Just 5 minutes?" He glanced at Molly. "Wait in the car, sweetheart. I'll be there soon." Molly complied, though she looked worried. Gracie clasped her hands. "I just wanted to say thank you for protecting me from Dean. He hasn't contacted me again, and I'm grateful. Also, the therapy session, I sense you're still distant, but I appreciate you not giving up instantly." Leon exhaled, arms folded. "I'm not giving up, but I'm not forgiving easily either. And the next time you feel threatened by Dean, call me before meeting him, understood?" She nodded quickly. "Yes, absolutely." She hesitated. "Could we do dinner as a family sometime? Just a calm meal for Molly's sake?" He considered. "Maybe, if Molly requests it, but I won't pretend we're fixed." Then, noticing the hurt in her eyes, he softened slightly. "I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just not sure how to handle your betrayal yet. Let me do it at my pace." She swallowed. "I understand. Good night, Leon." He gave a curt nod and headed to his car, where Molly awaited. The ride home was quiet. She asked if her mom was sad. Leon just said, "Yes, a bit, but let's focus on your success tonight." She smiled wanly. In bed later, Leon stared at the ceiling, wondering how Monday's meltdown at Dean's firm would unfold. He almost pitied the man. Almost. Chapter 6. Leon awoke Sunday morning to a string of text updates from Reagan. The infiltration was going well. The board meeting at Dean's software firm was set for tomorrow. Tension brewed among the executives. Rumors about serious compliance violations swirled. Leon felt an undercurrent of grim satisfaction. The trap was nearly sprung. He got up, prepared breakfast for Molly, and debated his day's plan. Gracie had asked about attending church together, but he wasn't ready for that display of unity. Instead, he'd focus on household chores, possibly research more about financial entanglements. He needed to be sure if or when he filed for divorce, he had full control of assets. Molly trotted downstairs, hair disheveled. "Dad, can I go to Aunt Reagan's place after lunch? She said I could help feed her new puppy." Leon smiled softly. "Sure, if that's what you want. I'll pick you up before dinner." Though Molly called Reagan Aunt, they weren't blood relatives, just a close family friend. That bond offered a sense of stability. "Thanks, Dad," Molly said, rummaging for cereal. Once she was occupied, Leon stepped aside to check a private email account. A new message from Clarence's detective cousin. Title: Carter's second phone. He opened it eagerly. The detective had discovered partial text logs from Dean's secret phone, some messages referencing Pressure Gracie or threat photos. Others indicated Dean might keep intimate pictures or chat logs with Gracie as blackmail. Leon's blood boiled. This was proof of harassment, possibly criminal. Perfect ammunition if Dean tried anything. He forwarded the logs to Reagan with instructions. "Keep these in our safe folder. Possibly forward to authorities if we want to press charges for blackmail." This was a major advantage. At midday, Molly left for Reagan's place. Leon found himself alone, the house eerily quiet. He decided to revisit old photo albums before Gracie's betrayal. He tried to recall the warmth of their earlier years, searching for a clue about when that warmth vanished. He realized it wasn't an overnight shift. The distance built gradually as his travels became more frequent. But no matter how lonely she got, it didn't justify an affair. Another wave of anger coursed through him, fueling his determination. While reorganizing some boxes in the garage, Leon noticed a car slowing at his curb. Through the window, he recognized Dean's Infinity. Leon tensed. He dares come here again? He stepped outside, prepared for confrontation. But the Infinity only lingered for a moment, then sped off. Possibly Dean was checking if Gracie was around or if Leon was absent. Leon returned inside, cursing quietly. Dean's behavior reeked of a predator circling. The sooner Monday's meltdown at his firm occurred, the better. Let him be too embroiled in scandal to harass Leon's family further. Late afternoon, the doorbell rang. Leon opened it to find Gracie standing there, a timid expression. "May I come in? I just want to discuss tomorrow's therapy session and see if Molly's home." He stepped aside. "She's with Reagan. She'll be back later." He led her to the living room. The memory of discovering her and Dean on that couch still stung. He gestured for her to sit in a chair instead. She sat, fiddling with her purse strap. I wanted to mention that Dean's been texting me from unknown numbers, demanding I meet him again. I blocked each one, but he's persistent." Leon's eyes narrowed. "Did you keep those messages? We might use them if we press harassment charges." Gracie nodded, looking ashamed. "Yes, I took screenshots. I can forward them to you. I just want you to know I have zero interest in seeing him." He exhaled. "Good. Because I've discovered evidence he's blackmailing you with potential photos or chat logs." Her face paled. "He claimed he had pictures, yes, but I hoped it was a bluff. God, I regret everything. If you want to file a complaint, I'll cooperate." Leon studied her. For the first time, he sensed her contrition might be genuine, if overshadowed by fear. "Let's see how Monday goes. If he's busy dealing with an internal meltdown at his firm, maybe he'll back off. If not, we go to the police." She bit her lip. "All right. Also, I want to be transparent about finances. I pulled some statements to show you I'm not hiding money. I left them in the car. Should I bring them in?" Leon nodded. "Yes, do that." She returned with a small folder, handing it over. He flipped through receipts, credit card bills. Her spending was normal, no suspicious outflows. "Thank you," he said stiffly. "We'll see if this helps me trust you eventually." She blinked tears. "I know I have to earn it. I'm just so sorry for everything." They sat in awkward silence. Then Gracie asked softly, "Do you see any future for us, Leon? Or am I just clinging to false hope?" Leon stared at the blank TV screen. "I don't know. Sometimes I think it might be possible. Sometimes I want you gone permanently. I guess the therapy will clarify. But if you keep to your word about no contact with Dean, plus full honesty, maybe." She sighed in relief. "That's all I can ask." He rose, concluding the conversation. "I'll pick up Molly soon. We'll see you at therapy tomorrow. Good night, Gracie." She left with slumped shoulders, eyes shining with tears. Once the door closed, Leon rubbed his temples, exhaustion setting in. This emotional roller coaster was draining. He wanted it resolved one way or another. The upcoming meltdown for Dean might provide clarity. If Dean was publicly discredited, Gracie might be forced to see how vile he was. If she still clung to him, that'd finalize Leon's decision to divorce. Morning dawned gray and cold, matching Leon's mood. He drove Molly to school, then returned home to monitor updates from Reagan about the software firm's board meeting. At 10 a.m., a text arrived. Dean, summoned to closed-door session, big trouble. Leon allowed himself a grim smile, refreshing the news feed on his computer. By noon, a local business blog posted a rumor, high-level rep at XY Tech under internal investigation for questionable sales practices. The piece lacked names, but Leon and Reagan recognized the references. At 1 p.m., Reagan texted a bombshell. Dean just left the building, looked furious. Sources say he's suspended pending investigation. Leon almost laughed in relief. The first blow had landed. Dean's job was at serious risk. Possibly he'd be fired soon if the investigation confirmed wrongdoing. Good. Let him lose prestige, money, everything. But that was only the beginning. Leon planned to leak certain chat logs to a journalist friend of Reagan's, revealing how Dean used fake war stories to impress clients or seduce potential girlfriends. The same friend might also highlight that Dean had an affair with a married woman while the husband was overseas. The public shame might be intense. Leon carefully weighed the timing. For now, he held that card. Let Dean stew in the immediate fallout first. That evening, Leon arrived at Dr. Bowman's office again, bracing for a tense hour with Gracie. She arrived looking subdued, wearing a plain blouse and no makeup, as if wanting to appear more modest. Dr. Bowman greeted them, ushering them into the private room. "How have things progressed since last session?" she asked, glancing between them. Leon spoke first, voice calm. "We decided on a temporary separation. Gracie is living with her parents. She claims no contact with Dean. We had an incident last week where he tried blackmail, but she did the right thing calling me." Gracie nodded. "I've blocked him in every way possible. I even forwarded the blackmail messages to Leon. I'm focusing on regaining trust." Dr. Bowman leaned forward. "Excellent step. Gracie, any challenges to maintaining distance from him?" She exhaled. "He showed up at the motel, threatened me, but I left with Leon's help. I'm done with him. I want to show Leon I'm serious." The counselor turned to Leon. "How do you feel about Gracie's efforts?" He clasped his hands. "Cautiously optimistic, but still very hurt. I'm also reevaluating whether or not I want to remain in the marriage. She's cooperating so far. That's good. But trust is not easily rebuilt." Dr. Bowman nodded. "Indeed. Rebuilding trust can take months or years. Are you both prepared for that journey?" Gracie's voice quivered. "I am. No matter how long it takes." Leon was less certain. "I'll try. But if I sense a single new deception, I'm done. My priority is Molly." Then Dr. Bowman dropped a small twist. "Sometimes couples in this situation find it beneficial to sign a short-term post-nuptial agreement. Something that outlines financial custody arrangements if further betrayal occurs. Would you consider that, Leon?" He paused, surprised but intrigued. "Actually, yes. That might reassure me she's serious. If she betrays me again, she forfeits certain marital assets or custody privileges. That sounds fair?" Gracie hesitated, then nodded slowly. "If that's what it takes." Dr. Bowman gave a gentle smile. "Good. That can be a tangible step toward accountability. We can discuss the details next time, or you can consult a lawyer." The session concluded on a slightly hopeful note. Still, Leon's heart remained guarded. After they stepped outside, Gracie turned to him. "Thank you for giving me a chance." He merely nodded, swallowing bitterness. "Don't make me regret it." Late that night, Leon's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The content made his blood boil. "You piece of shit! I know you sabotaged me at work. I'll ruin you. Wait and see." Leon recognized Dean's tone. The meltdown was hitting him. Suspended from the job, possibly facing deeper probes, he was lashing out. Leon typed back calmly, "Don't contact me or Gracie again. Focus on cleaning up your own mess." Dean responded with curses, threats. Leon saved every message. This was prime evidence if Dean escalated. He felt no fear, only satisfaction. The man was cornered, exactly as planned. Chapter 7. Tuesday morning arrived with an unexpected visitor at Leon's door. An older man in a suit, carrying a briefcase. He introduced himself as Victor Hastings, a private lawyer representing the XY Tech software firm. Leon raised an eyebrow. Hastings cleared his throat. "I'm sorry to disturb you. I'd like to speak with you about certain allegations your friend Mr. Reagan brought to our attention. We suspect you have additional documents regarding Dean Carter's wrongdoing." Leon kept his expression neutral. "I might. Why?" Hastings offered a tight smile. "We're preparing a case to terminate him for cause. However, we need a clear paper trail. We suspect he's forging documents, extorting side deals, and possibly using personal blackmail. If you can provide evidence, it'd help us finalize the termination and preempt any wrongful dismissal lawsuit from him." Leon studied the lawyer. "If I help you, can you guarantee this remains confidential? I don't want to be entangled in a public scandal." The lawyer nodded. "We'll keep your name out of it. Our compliance team will attribute it to an internal investigation. We just need the raw data to corroborate the tip we received last week." Leon pretended to weigh it. In truth, this was exactly what he wanted: official corporate action against Dean. "All right. I have some emails and chat logs that might prove his pattern. I'll share selectively. Let me gather them." They arranged to meet the next day. Hastings left, relieved. Leon closed the door, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. Dean was truly cooked if the firm's lawyers were already finalizing termination. He texted Reagan, "Firm's lawyer visited me. They want more. Victory in progress." Later that afternoon, Leon met Janine Reed Clarence's detective cousin at a small cafe. She wore a sharp blazer and carried an iPad. They exchanged polite greetings, then dove into business. Janine opened files showing surveillance pictures of Dean frequenting a particular upscale condo. He's renting it under a shell name, possibly where he took certain guests. Leon grimaced. The man had a second hideout, likely for illicit liaisons. Janine also displayed a partial text exchange where Dean boasted about landing a big deal with bribes. More ammunition. Finally, Janine offered a sealed envelope. "Inside are records indicating Dean has serious debt with certain loan sharks. He might be desperate, which explains the blackmail attempts." Leon exhaled. "This is extremely helpful. Thank you." Janine gave a tight nod. "If you want to press charges for harassment or blackmail, we have enough. Or you can hold it as leverage." Leon considered. "I might hold it for now. Let the corporate meltdown finish him off. If he tries anything else, I'll unleash the rest. Thank you for your thoroughness." They parted ways. Leon felt unstoppable momentum. Each day, Dean's power diminished. The final blow might be soon. That evening, while picking up Molly from an after-school activity, Leon was surprised to see Gracie there. She stood awkwardly near the exit, hoping for a chance to talk with Molly. When Molly emerged, she hesitated, glancing from one parent to the other. Leon stepped aside, allowing them a moment. Molly warily greeted Gracie. "Hi, Mom." Gracie's eyes brimmed with tears. "Hi, sweetheart. I miss you. You doing okay?" Molly shrugged, tension evident. "I'm fine. Dad's been taking me to practice. We went to the talent show. He's helping me with homework." Gracie's voice trembled. "I'm sorry for all the stress. I love you so much. I just hope you're not mad at me. Molly's expression hardened a bit. I'm confused, Mom. I know you and Dad are trying therapy, but I heard about, you know, the man who's not Dad. She looked away, pained. I can't believe you let that happen. Tears slid down Gracie's face. I'm sorry, honey. I made a horrible mistake. I'm trying to make it right. Please just don't shut me out. Molly sighed heavily. I don't want to shut you out, but I'm upset. Dad's really hurt. I am too. Gracie nodded, voice cracking. I understand. If you ever want to talk, call me. I'm staying at Grandma's, but you can visit, or we can do something fun. Molly gave a small, reluctant nod. We'll see. Then she turned to Leon. Can we go, Dad? I have homework. Leon felt conflicting empathy for Gracie's pain and fury at her for putting them all in this position. Yes, let's go. He nodded curtly at Gracie, who looked devastated as they walked away. That night, Leon was organizing some digital files from the detective's evidence when his home network glitched. A random reconnection caused an old synced folder, Gracie's personal cloud backups, to resurface on Leon's system. The subfolder included timeline-labeled pictures. He almost clicked away, not wanting to see more heartbreak. But a few file names caught his eye, referencing Dean. Curiosity overcame him. He opened them. The images confirmed his worst nightmares. Intimate selfies Gracie had taken with Dean, along with a small stash of explicit pictures. Leon's stomach churned. But then, among them, an unexpected photo set labeled Insurance. He opened it, discovering images of Dean looking intoxicated, receiving wads of cash from a shady figure. Another showed him forging what appeared to be company documents. The timestamp suggested Gracie had snapped them accidentally, or she'd saved them from Dean's phone. Possibly, she'd suspected something about Dean's wrongdoing but never mentioned it to Leon. Or maybe she was coerced. Leon felt a surge of triumph. 8. This was direct visual evidence of Dean's illicit deals, the smoking gun. More powerful than the second-hand text logs, more damning in a legal sense. Possibly Gracie had kept them as leverage if Dean turned on her. Now they were in Leon's hands. He quickly copied them to an encrypted drive. He felt a wave of pity for Gracie, who must have been deeper in Dean's manipulations than she admitted. Then anger flared at her continued secrecy. She never told Leon about these pictures, even while claiming to regret everything. Another partial deception, albeit overshadowed by her larger betrayal. Leon realized if he leaked these images to Dean's firm or law enforcement, Dean might face immediate criminal investigations. The meltdown would escalate to arrest. However, using them also risked drawing Gracie into the scandal since she was in the pictures. Would that complicate custody or therapy? He decided to hold them for now. A powerful final card if Dean pushed further. War was definitely war. Later that week, Gracie tearfully requested a family dinner at a neutral restaurant to show Molly some semblance of unity. Leon hesitated, but Molly seemed eager to see her mom in a less tense setting, so he agreed. They chose a casual Italian place. Leon arrived with Molly, spotting Gracie already seated in a booth. The tension was palpable as they exchanged greetings. Gracie forced a bright tone. Hello, my loves. Glad we could do this. Molly slid into the seat, nodding politely. Leon watched them carefully. He noticed Gracie's subdued manner as though she was walking on eggshells. Possibly she suspected Leon had discovered more. Midway through dinner, Molly, innocent of the swirling adult undercurrents, brought up a plan for a short trip to the mountains during winter break. We used to do that each year, remember? Gracie smiled sadly. We did. It was special. I'd love to go again, but, well, your dad and I need to see if that's feasible. Molly's face fell. Leon exhaled. Let's not decide tonight. We'll see how therapy goes. Right, Gracie? She nodded, tears brimming. Yes, that's fair. The dinner was stiff, with forced small talk. Molly seemed disappointed that there was no warmth between her parents. They parted outside, Molly hugging her mom. Gracie cast Leon a yearning look. Thank you for humoring me. I hope we can eventually do more family activities. He gave a curt nod. One step at a time. Friday dawned with new intel from Reagan. Dean's been suspended for sure. He's raging. He's telling folks it's all a smear by some competitor. Meanwhile, HR is gathering final evidence to terminate him next week. Leon felt satisfaction. He typed, "Perfect. Keep me posted. We might finalize this soon." He also saw texts from Clarence's detective cousin confirming that Dean had visited the shady condo with suspicious visitors again, possibly trying to arrange hush deals. 10. Between the blackmail texts, the meltdown at work, and the criminal deals, Dean's life was spiraling. Leon relished the thought that soon Dean would be in freefall, powerless to harass Gracie or tarnish Leon's name. But as the day progressed, an uneasy sense gnawed at Leon. The battered, cornered animals sometimes lash out. He braced for a possible last-ditch stunt from Dean. Chapter 8. Saturday arrived, marking nearly 2 weeks since Leon's shocking homecoming. He tried to maintain normalcy for Molly. Soccer practice, homework help, a planned shopping trip. Meanwhile, the tension with Gracie persisted, overshadowed by therapy sessions and the slow realization that Leon might never fully forgive. While Leon and Molly were out shopping for groceries, his phone rang with an unknown caller. He answered warily. A gruff voice said, "Mr. Hamilton, this is Detective Alvarez from the local precinct. We'd like you to come in for a statement about an alleged assault on Mr. Dean Carter. He's filed a police report claiming you attacked him at a motel 2 weeks ago." Leon's eyes widened. "Attacked him? He was harassing my wife. I merely intervened to get her out safely." Detective Alvarez was non-committal. "He claims you used excessive force. We want to hear your side. If you're free, please drop by for a chat. We're not charging you at this stage, but we need clarity." Leon sighed. "I'll come by tomorrow." He hung up, seething. Dean's final gambit, playing victim. So typical. He texted Gracie. "Dean filed an assault claim. The police want my statement. We'll need your corroboration." She replied quickly. "Absolutely. I'll confirm he was the aggressor." The next day, Leon visited the precinct. He recounted the motel incident calmly, describing how Gracie was cornered. He emphasized that he used minimal force, that Dean was drunk and threatened them. Detective Alvarez nodded, taking notes. "Ms. Hamilton's statement lines up with yours. We suspect it's a vindictive complaint. We'll likely close this soon. If we need more, we'll call." Leon thanked him, leaving with relief. Dean's attempt to flip the script seemed to be failing. That afternoon, Gracie showed up unexpectedly at Leon's house. Molly was at a friend's, giving them privacy. Gracie's eyes were red, as if she'd been crying for hours. "Leon, can I come in?" He stepped aside cautiously, bracing for drama. She settled in the living room. "What is it?" he asked, arms crossed. Gracie inhaled shakily. "I found something when I was sorting old files at my parents' place. They're notes from a conversation with Dean, mentioning he had stolen war stories from you. He boasted about using them to impress clients. I was so foolish, but at the time I didn't realize how big a deal that was. Now I see. It's stolen valor. In a sense. I want you to have these." She handed him a small notepad with scribbled references to fake heroics in Afghanistan or Germany, things Dean evidently claimed were his experiences but were actually Leon's. Leon's fury flared. "He stole my personal anecdotes from deployments to pass as his own? The man truly has no moral bottom." Gracie nodded miserably. Yes, and I never told you. I'm sorry. I realize how vile it was. I guess it's more proof of what he is. Leon scanned the notes, lips pressed tight. This was another powerful weapon. If the meltdown at Dean's firm wasn't enough, exposing stolen valor among the local or national veterans community would crush him socially. Thank you for bringing this. Next time, don't hide anything. She nodded, tears brimming. I won't. He set the notes aside. So is that all? Or is there more? She hesitated. Leon, you have to believe me when I say I'm done with him. But sometimes I wake up at night, terrified that you'll never forgive me. I still love you. I want you to see that. I'll sign any post-nup, do any therapy, just don't shut me out completely for Molly's sake, if nothing else. Leon stared at her a moment, seeing genuine remorse. I hear you, he said softly. But trust is earned. Keep doing what you're doing, full honesty. No contact with Dean, and maybe we'll see a path. That's all I can promise. She sniffled. Okay, that's all I ask. She lingered, gaze searching his face for any flicker of warmth. But he remained guarded. She left quietly, shoulders slumped. The next day, Leon was surprised by a call from someone identifying themselves as Howard Carter, Dean's father. Mr. Hamilton, I'd like to speak with you about these accusations swirling around my son. Is there a time we can meet? Leon frowned. He'd never met Dean's family, but curiosity overcame him. Sure. Tomorrow midday I can spare half an hour. They arranged to meet at a neutral cafe. Leon arrived, scanning for an older version of Dean. Sure enough, an imposing man wearing a tailored jacket sat waiting. Howard Carter rose, extending a stiff handshake. Leon, thank you for meeting. I'd like to address certain rumors about Dean's suspension and his allegations that you orchestrated it. Leon kept his face impassive. If you mean the truth that he committed fraud, blackmailed my wife, and tried to accuse me of assault, yes. That's factual, not rumor. Howard's eyes flickered. He claims it's a setup, that you're punishing him for a personal matter, some affair with your wife. He says you're determined to ruin him professionally. Leon let out a bitter laugh. He's the author of his ruin. I simply exposed wrongdoing. If your son wasn't guilty, it wouldn't stick. Now he's facing consequences. Howard bristled. I see. As his father, I wonder if there's a peaceful resolution. Perhaps we can come to a mutual understanding. Leon's eyes narrowed. You're suggesting hush money? Some arrangement where I let him off the hook? Howard cleared his throat, choosing words carefully. We could cover any financial inconveniences you've endured. In exchange, you retract certain allegations. Let Dean salvage his job, his reputation. Leon's disgust roiled. You want me to accept a bribe to let your lying, cheating son continue scot-free? He invaded my marriage, threatened my wife, and defrauded his company. There's no peaceful resolution that erases that. Howard stiffened. Look, I know my son can be reckless, but he doesn't deserve total destruction. Everyone makes mistakes. Maybe we can find a path that spares him from complete disgrace. Leon's gaze hardened. He inflicted disgrace on himself, and your offer offends me. I'm not for sale. Howard's shoulders sagged. Then it's war, I suppose. Dean's mother and I wanted to find a compromise, but if you refuse... Leon cut in, voice low and lethal. It was war, the moment your son crept into my bed with my wife. Now he's dealing with consequences. Good day, Mr. Carter. He left the stunned father in the cafe, adrenaline pumping. The Carters' attempt to buy him off only reinforced his resolve. Dean would face the meltdown or face jail. No mercy. That evening, Leon was at home when the doorbell rang. He opened it to find Molly's best friend's mom, Reagan, Not the same friend as his buddy, but coincidentally the same name to avoid confusion. Let's rename the friend's mother as Marilyn to keep continuity. Standing there, eyes anxious. Leon was puzzled. "Marilyn, everything okay?" She looked around nervously. "I just needed to share something. My husband works at XY Tech. He's on the compliance team that's investigating Dean Carter. He recognized your name from the rumored backstory. He wanted me to tell you that they found undisputed evidence of Dean forging digital signatures plus that shady condo. They plan to terminate him next week, possibly forward the case to law enforcement." Leon's eyes lit with satisfaction. "That's excellent news. Thank you for telling me." Marilyn sighed. "It's messy. My husband says Dean claims you orchestrated it out of revenge, but the data is solid. Dean's definitely in deep trouble." Leon nodded. "He betrayed me on a personal level, yes, but his business crimes are his own making. Let them proceed." Marilyn offered a sympathetic smile. "Just wanted to give you a heads up. I know Molly's your priority, so if any media coverage spills out, be prepared to protect her from gossip." Leon appreciated the caution. "Yes, I'll be ready. Thank you, Marilyn." She left, and Leon felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. Next week's official termination likely sealed Dean's fate, let him face the public fallout, possibly leading to criminal charges. That night, he quietly told Gracie about it via text, ensuring she wasn't blindsided. She replied that she was relieved Dean would be too busy with his meltdown to harass her. She asked if Leon had accepted hush money from Dean's father, which he found amusing. She had no idea Howard Carter tried that. Leon answered, "No, I'd never stoop so low." She wrote back, "Thank you, Leon, for upholding some moral standard I apparently forgot." He simply turned off his phone, mood pensive. The gulf between them remained wide. Early Sunday morning, Leon woke to a banging at the front door. He leapt up, adrenaline surging. Checking the peephole, he saw no one. He opened the door cautiously, scanning the yard. Then he noticed the side gate open. Heart pounding, he grabbed a baseball bat from the closet and moved quietly around the side. There he found the back door's handle jiggling, someone trying to break in. He burst out, brandishing the bat. The intruder froze Dean. "What the hell are you doing?" Leon snarled. Dean's eyes were wild, hair disheveled. You ruined my life. My job's gone. I'm under investigation. My father turned his back on me. It's all your fault." He spat, voice thick with rage. Leon's pulse hammered, but he kept a cold veneer. "You did that to yourself, Carter. Now you're trespassing on my property. Leave, or I'll call the cops." Dean let out a manic laugh. "Call them, then. Maybe I'll tell them more about your assault. Or your precious Gracie's pictures." Leon's grip on the bat tightened. "You dare threaten me with pictures? That's blackmail, you idiot!" Dean glared. "I want compensation. You can't just destroy me. You owe me." Leon almost laughed. "I owe you? For seducing my wife? Forging deals? Blackmailing her? You're delusional." Dean lunged forward, hands outstretched. Leon sidestepped, smacking Dean's forearm with the bat, controlled but forceful enough to make him yelp and stumble. "Last warning," Leon growled, heart pounding. "Get out!" Dean staggered, clutching his arm, hatred blazing in his eyes. "I'll destroy you in the court of public opinion. I have pictures of Gracie. I'll leak them, ruin her reputation, make you both pariahs. The whole community will see." Leon's anger snapped. He smashed the bat into the dirt at Dean's feet, scaring him. "You leak anything, I release proof of your blackmail, bribery, and stolen valor. You'll not only lose your job, but face criminal charges. You'll go to jail." Dean's face paled, uncertain. "You're bluffing." Leon's voice carried lethal conviction. "Try me. I have everything. That's the difference between me and you. I gather evidence systematically, not half-assed. Next time you step on my property, I'll have the police waiting. Now get lost." Dean stared, then turned, stumbling away. "This isn't over," he hissed. Leon watched him retreat, heart pounding. Once the adrenaline subsided, he realized how close it was to true violence. But he felt no remorse. He'd do anything to keep that scum away from his family. He immediately phoned the local precinct to report an attempted break-in. The responding officer took a statement, snapped some pictures of footprints near the back door. Dean was gone, but the report was filed. Another bullet in Leon's arsenal if Dean tried anything else. After the officer left, Leon found Molly awake, standing at the top of the stairs, wide-eyed. "Dad, what happened? I heard yelling." He rubbed his temple, mentally cursing the timing. "It was Dean. He tried to break in. He's upset about losing his job." Molly paled. "He's that guy. That took Mom from you?" Leon inhaled, heartbreak flaring. "Yes, Malls, but I handled it. He's gone now. The police made a report. You're safe." She sat on the top step, tears trembling on her lashes. "Why can't he just leave us alone? I'm scared he'll come back again." Leon climbed the steps, hugging her. "I'll protect you always. He's losing power. Soon he'll realize he can't terrorize us. I promise." She sniffled, leaning against him. "I want all this to end." He closed his eyes. "Me too, kid. Me too." Midday Sunday, Gracie texted, "He tried to break in. Are you safe? I feel so guilty." Leon ignored her guilt-laden text, simply replying, "We're safe. Police notified. Dean is desperate." "Don't worry, I have measures in place." He was done reassuring Gracie. She'd made her bed with Dean. Now, she reaped the chaos. If she truly wanted redemption, she had to face the anguish. Over the next hours, Clarence's detective cousin confirmed that Dean's meltdown was near total. He'd been served termination papers from XY Tech, plus an eviction notice from his condo's landlord due to unpaid rent. The loan sharks were apparently circling. Leon smiled grimly at the news justice in motion. Still, he didn't let his guard down. A cornered Dean was unpredictable. So he installed a security camera at the front door, one at the back, ensuring any further intrusion would be captured. He informed the neighbors discreetly. If Dean showed up again, Leon wanted immediate backup. Leon woke Monday morning to a flurry of messages from Reagan. "Dean's officially fired. HR circulated a memo about fraudulent sales, forging documents, etc. He's effectively blacklisted in the local tech scene. He stormed out of the office." Leon exhaled satisfaction. That was the final professional blow. Now Dean was jobless, drowning in debt, and under potential criminal investigation. Perfect. He typed, "Well done. Let's remain vigilant. He might lash out again." He also received a text from Marilyn, the compliance wife friend, confirming the internal announcement. "He's done. Word is they might press charges. Just wanted you to know." Leon appreciated the heads-up, feeling an intense sense of accomplishment. This methodical destruction mirrored the way he handled tricky logistics, identify weaknesses, apply pressure, ensure the target collapses. He felt no sympathy for Dean, only a cold satisfaction. Monday afternoon, Leon headed to Dr. Bowman's office for the next therapy session with Gracie. They sat in subdued tension as the counselor asked about updates. Leon mentioned the break-in attempt. Gracie paled, hands shaking. "He's truly out of control. I'm so sorry." Dr. Bowman frowned. "That's frightening. Gracie, is it correct that you told him it was over? Yet he persists." She nodded tearfully. "Yes, I've cut all contact. He just won't respect that. Leon's handled it. I'm so ashamed I brought this danger to our family." Leon spoke in an even tone. "He's also lost his job, so hopefully that reduces his resources to harass us." The counselor probed deeper. How does this crisis affect your stance on reconciliation? Are you bonding over a shared adversity, or do you resent her more, Leon? Leon took a moment to answer, eyes distant. If anything, it shows me she was manipulated. She's cooperating and shutting him down. I appreciate that. But the betrayal is still real. My anger might fade in time, but the scars remain. Gracie's tears brimmed. I accept that. All I can do is be consistent, honest, prove I'm worthy of trust again. Dr. Bowman nodded. Exactly. Rebuilding from an affair requires consistent action, total transparency, and willingness to face uncomfortable truths. If you both remain engaged, you might find a path forward. If not, we'll address how to separate amicably for Molly's sake. They ended with a plan for a possible post-nuptial draft next week. Gracie agreed in principle, acknowledging that if she ever returned to Dean, or any affair, she'd forfeit certain marital assets. Leon felt some measure of security in that arrangement, a tangible deterrent if her remorse wavered. After therapy, Gracie hesitated outside Dr. Bowman's office. Leon, I have an envelope for you. My father suggested it's some pictures from our earlier years to remind us what we're fighting for. She handed it over. He accepted it warily. Thanks. When he got home, he opened it, finding photos of their wedding day, Molly's birth, first Christmas as a family, vacations, laughter. In each snapshot, their eyes shone with love. Leon felt a pang that was part sadness, part longing. If only she'd been faithful. They could have grown old, cherishing those memories. Now it all felt tainted. He stashed the envelope in a drawer, uncertain whether to dwell on past happiness or remain fixed on her betrayal. For a moment, he almost envied men who never fell in love, never gave their hearts away so they'd never face this pain. Then he shook off the thought, focusing on the present. Molly needed him stable, not lost in regret. The next day, a local news blog posted an article headlined, "Fallen Sales Star at XY Tech Shocking Allegations of Fraud Harassment." The piece didn't name Leon or Gracie specifically, but it mentioned an affair with a married woman and blackmail attempts. The journalist painted Dean Carter as a cunning manipulator who exploited personal relationships for business gain. They cited anonymous sources who provided text logs and photos. Leon recognized Reagan's subtle hand, mixing some of the detective's intel with minimal risk to Leon's identity. The story quickly spread in business circles. The local TV station teased a segment about the scandal. Leon saw no direct mention of Gracie's name, but her circle of acquaintances might guess it was her. That risk was real, but ironically, it might exonerate her from attempts to downplay or spin it. If the story hammered Dean alone, maybe Gracie could salvage her reputation somewhat. He braced for the possibility that Gracie would freak out. He typed a short text. "A story about Dean is circulating. I had no direct part in the leak, but it's out there. Don't panic." She responded with anxious gratitude that her name wasn't in it. Now, with Dean's professional persona in ashes, his finances in ruin, and any illusions of him being a misunderstood victim destroyed, Leon felt the war nearing conclusion. The last question. Would Gracie remain committed to rebuilding with Leon? Or would she sink under guilt and further deception? If she tried any nonsense, Leon stood ready to finalize a divorce, armed with all the evidence. Chapter 9. Leon found himself standing in the family room, absently running his hand over the back of the couch where he'd first caught Gracie with Dean. Despite all that had happened, 2 months of methodical maneuvers to sabotage Dean, separate from Gracie, and protect Molly, a sense of unreality lingered. He'd destroyed Dean's career with carefully leaked evidence and forced him into potential criminal charges. He'd cut off every financial avenue and even repelled Dean's attempts at revenge. Now he asked himself, what next? He stared at the stack of documents on the coffee table, a draft of the post-nuptial agreement. Gracie was due to sign it next session. The terms included immediate forfeiture of key marital assets if she reestablished contact with Dean or repeated infidelity. She'd also waive spousal support if divorce ensued under similar conditions. Leon had insisted on these draconian measures to secure a sense of safety. If Gracie truly wanted redemption, she'd sign without flinching. He sighed, glancing up the stairs where Molly was doing homework in her room. She had grown quiet, thoughtful 13, going on 30, forging her own opinions on adult betrayals. Leon dreaded the day she might read some sensationalized account of her mother's affair or her father's revenge. That was his final impetus to keep the scandal from splashing Molly's name around. His phone buzzed. Reagan messaging. Just confirmed. Dean's ex-colleagues have uncovered more incriminating data. He might be indicted for fraud soon. Perfect storm. Leon typed back. Good. Keep me in the loop. He headed for the kitchen. The day's tension weighed on him, but a small flicker of satisfaction gleamed. Dean's meltdown was nearly complete. The next therapy appointment might finalize Gracie's path loyalty to Leon or a moral collapse. Friday morning, Leon and Gracie met at Dr. Bowman's office for the next therapy session. Molly was at school, clueless about the specifics. Gracie arrived wearing a conservative blouse, hair neatly tied back, expression solemn. She carried a small folder of her own documents. Dr. Bowman greeted them, guiding them to comfortable chairs in the softly lit counseling room. Early in the session, Leon produced the draft post-nup. I want Gracie to sign this. It clarifies that if she cheats again or if she reestablishes contact with Dean in a romantic sense, she forfeits certain assets and custody privileges. Also, if we decide to divorce due to her breach of trust, she won't demand spousal support. Gracie swallowed, scanning the pages. Her hands trembled. It's harsh, but I accept it. I said I'd do anything to regain your trust. I won't betray you again, so it shouldn't matter how harsh the penalties are. Leon studied her face. Dr. Bowman intervened gently. Gracie, you understand the implications? If you sign, you're conceding a lot of legal ground in the event of future infidelity. She nodded, tears brimming. Yes, I deserve this. I ruined everything once. This proves I won't do it again. Leon exhaled. If you have doubts, say so. I'm not forcing you. But I need this to feel secure. Gracie picked up a pen, voice steady. No doubts. I want to show sincerity. Then with a shaking hand, she signed each page, tears sliding down her cheeks. There, it's done. Leon felt a flicker of relief. This was a tangible pledge. He thanked her curtly, placing the document in a folder. Dr. Bowman nodded approval. That's one step, but the emotional rebuilding remains. Over the next hour, they discussed communication strategies, ways to handle triggers. Gracie tearfully admitted how Dean had manipulated her vulnerabilities, though she accepted full responsibility for letting it happen. Leon listened, still guarded, but slightly less hostile. At session's end, Dr. Bowman said, This is progress, but I advise you to keep living separately a bit longer. Give yourselves space to learn new dynamics before resuming cohabitation. They both agreed. Leon walked Gracie out to her car. She hesitated, voice trembling. Thank you for giving me a chance, even if it's small. I won't break your trust again. He simply nodded, pocketing the post-nup. We'll see. That afternoon, Leon scrolled local news on his laptop, spotting a new headline. XXY Tech rep under investigation for fraud. Possible charges imminent. The article detailed how DC, initials only, had allegedly forged client signatures, inflated invoices, and engaged in questionable transactions. Corporate spokespeople wouldn't comment, but Leon recognized the telltale signs. The meltdown was public. The blog's rumor about stolen valor hadn't yet gone mainstream. Possibly that'd surface if Dean tried any more stunts. Sure enough, an alert from Reagan came in. Dean might be trying to skip town. Heard he sold some possessions, talking to shady contacts for quick cash. Leon smirked. Perfect. No stable job, no easy money. The man was flailing. Let him run. He decided to ensure Dean's final destruction. An anonymous tip to a local veterans group about Dean's false war stories. The group might publicly condemn him, sealing his social coffin. Leon typed an email. 2. Veterans Association tip line. Subject: Stolen valor in our midst, Dean Carter. Hello, I have evidence that Dean Carter, recently fired from XY Tech, falsely claimed heroic military experiences to gain business advantages. Attached are partial chat logs referencing incidents that never occurred. Sincerely, a concerned citizen. He pressed send. If Dean tried to slip away, he'd find the doors of the veterans community slammed in his face. Another piece of justice. Friday night, Leon was dozing on the living room couch, once again restless, when a loud banging on the front door startled him. Immediately, adrenaline surged. He peered through the peephole, expecting another Dean cameo. Indeed, it was Dean, face contorted with rage. Leon flung the door open, stepping out to the porch, blocking the entrance so Dean wouldn't see inside. "What now, Carter?" Dean's voice slurred with drink or mania. "You worthless bastard! You had me fired, blacklisted, my father disowned me, I can't get a new job, my life is in ruins. Are you satisfied?" Leon felt a cold calm. Almost. "Are you here to beg forgiveness? Or threaten me again?" Dean let out a ragged laugh. "Beg you? You think you're so righteous, but you're the one who left your wife alone, letting her crave real attention? If you'd been a better husband, she wouldn't have wanted me." Leon's fists clenched, but he refused to be provoked. "I see you're still blaming others for your failures." Dean lunged, eyes crazed. Leon stepped back, ready to defend himself. "Stay back," he warned. "I have cameras, and the police are a call away." "You want assault charges, too?" Dean panted, tears glistening in his eyes. "You took everything. My reputation, job, my father's support. Why? Because I had a fling with your lonely wife? Is that worth destroying me?" Leon's voice dropped to a lethal hush. "Yes. Betraying me in such a personal, vile way. You deserve everything you got, and your crimes at XY Tech are your own doing." Dean slumped, chest heaving. "You're cruel. A normal guy might punch me once or twice, but you orchestrated an entire meltdown. You're not even letting me relocate. The veterans group is labeling me a liar." Leon's lip curled in a half-smile. "Did you expect less? You messed with a man who knows how to wage a thorough war. Now face the consequences." Dean stared hopelessly. For a moment, Leon almost felt pity. This broken figure had once been a smug opportunist, now reduced to a desperate outcast. But recalling the motel harassment and blackmail threats extinguished that pity. "You've got 2 options," Leon said quietly. "Disappear peacefully or keep pushing and find yourself in jail for blackmail, fraud, stolen valor, harassment, take your pick." Dean let out a strangled sob, turned on his heel, and staggered to his car. He peeled away, tires screeching. Leon exhaled, leaning against the doorframe, heart pounding. Another confrontation averted, or so he hoped. Let the man vanish from their lives. Saturday morning, Leon prepared Molly's breakfast. She sat nibbling toast, eyes drifting to the newly installed front door camera. "Dad, Is that because of Dean? She asked quietly. He gave a grim nod. Yes, he's unstable. I want to ensure we're safe. She toyed with her fork. I get it. I just hate living like this, like we're under siege. I missed normal life before you left for that last deployment. Leon's heart ached. I know, Malls. I can't fix the past, but I promise things will stabilize. Therapy is helping your mom, me, and soon we'll decide if we can be a family again or not. Molly nodded slowly. I love Mom, but I can't forget what she did. Does that make sense? I'm angry, but also I miss her. I'm so confused. He gently squeezed her hand. That makes perfect sense. Adults make bad choices sometimes, but you're allowed your feelings. If you want to talk to someone, I can arrange counseling for you too. She smiled weakly. Maybe. Thanks, Dad. He wished he could shield her from all heartbreak, but at least she had his unwavering support. Sunday arrived. Gracie texted Leon, asking if he'd attend church with her and Molly. He hesitated, feeling conflicted. But Molly wanted to see both parents in a peaceful setting, so he agreed. They arrived separately, Molly riding with Leon. The sermon was about forgiveness and accountability, a theme that cut too close to home. Leon sat stiffly beside Gracie, ignoring curious glances from the congregation. Possibly rumors had spread about her affair. Some people whispered behind bulletins. After the service, the pastor greeted them with a gentle smile, praising them for working through adversity. Leon forced courtesy, but he noticed Gracie trembling under the congregation's stares. People had likely heard of her involvement with Dean. On the way out, a neighbor or two offered superficial well wishes. One older woman murmured to Leon, "We're praying for your family, dear." He merely nodded, lips tight. Then an unpleasant surprise. Dean lurking in the parking lot, leaning against a car. Leon immediately stepped between Gracie and Dean, voice low. "You again?" "Didn't you get the hint?" Dean sneered. "It's a free country. I can attend church if I want." He eyed Gracie, who shrank behind Leon. Molly froze, wide-eyed. Leon's fists tightened. "Molly, get in the car." She obeyed, though anxious. Gracie started to follow, but Dean called out, "Gracie, just give me a minute!" Leon turned, growling, "No, stay away!" Dean advanced. "Don't you want to confirm your part in this? Everyone here's whispering about you, Gracie. You think you can hide behind your husband's revenge scheme?" Leon braced for physical conflict. "Back off," he repeated, cold steel in his voice. The presence of onlookers kept Dean from attacking, but the tension crackled. Gracie mustered a shaky voice. "Dean, leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you. This is a house of worship. Please go." Dean spat on the ground, face contorting with rage and despair. Then, with a bitter curse, he stormed off. Some church members gasped, seeing the dramatic scene. Leon sighed in frustration, guiding Gracie to the car. Molly sat in the back, eyes brimming with tears. Why can't he just vanish? Leon felt the same question echo in his mind. He's desperate, clinging to illusions, but will handle it. He cast Gracie a glance, seeing her tear-streaked face. She looked utterly humiliated. Possibly that was part of her penance. Later that afternoon, Leon convened a private talk with Gracie at Dr. Bowman's urging, outside of therapy, but in a calm environment. They chose a quiet park near the river, a place they once loved, strolling with Molly. The autumn leaves glowed gold and red, swirling in the breeze. They walked a short path, stopping at a secluded bench. Gracie tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, voice trembling. "Leon, I want to know if you see any real future for us. I can't live in limbo forever." He inhaled, gazing at the river's slow current. I've tried to remain open-minded. The therapy sessions are helpful, but trust is still far off. You sleeping with Dean shattered our bond, even though you ended it. The aftershocks remain. She bit her lip. I'll keep doing therapy, transparency, everything. But if you decide you can't forgive me, I'll understand. I just hope you let me remain close to Molly. Leon closed his eyes, heart heavy. I appreciate your sincerity. Honestly, some days I think we could rebuild. Other days I can't stand to look at you. That's the truth. Gracie's tears dripped onto her coat sleeve. I deserve that. But I love you, Leon. Truly. If you let me, I'll spend the rest of my life making amends. He swallowed. For a moment, memories of their wedding day, Molly's birth, and simpler times overshadowed the betrayal. He exhaled shakily. Let's give it more time. The postnup stands. If you remain consistent, maybe we'll find a path. If not, I'll finalize the divorce. She nodded, relief mingled with sorrow. Thank you. I won't fail you again. She tried to take his hand, and this time he allowed it briefly, feeling a faint stirring of old affection. But the wound was still raw. That night, Leon was helping Molly with an algebra assignment when Gracie called, breathless. Leon, oh God. Dean posted some pictures of me on a shady website. I just got screenshots from a friend. He's crossing every line. They're not fully explicit, but definitely intimate. He's humiliating me publicly. Please help. Leon's blood boiled. He posted them? Where exactly? She sobbed. On some local adult forum or something. My friend saw them by chance. They're partially blurred but recognizable as me. He captioned them with nasty comments. I feel so violated. Leon clenched the phone, fury radiating. This was it, the final straw. Send me all details. I'll handle it. Stay calm. After she forwarded the link, Leon opened it, seeing a half-dozen photos ones Gracie must have taken during their affair, cropped or blurred in places, but enough to be humiliating if recognized. The forum comment by DC read, Married teacher seeking excitement while hubby away. Exposed for the prude she is. Leon felt a protective rage. Whatever his issues with Gracie, she was still mother of his child. Dean had gone nuclear. Let him face nuclear in return. He texted Reagan, Dean posted revenge pictures. Let's bury him. I want criminal charges, immediate takedown, and maximum blowback. Reagan responded instantly. On it. This is a direct violation of revenge porn laws. We can push the DA to act. Leon next texted Gracie. We'll press charges. Provide any original photos or proof that he had them. I'll contact the detective. She replied, Yes, I'll do anything. Thank you. Now Leon felt no hesitation about unleashing the stolen valor leak and the blackmail logs. This ended tonight. Let Dean face the full weight of the law and public outrage. Enough was enough. Within hours, Leon's network activated. Reagan contacted a DA contact providing logs of Dean's blackmail attempts. Clarence's detective cousin provided the motel incident details, indicating a pattern of harassment. Leon forwarded the forum link to the authorities, highlighting it as non-consensual intimate images, revenge porn. The next morning, an investigator from the county sheriff's office called Leon for details. Gracie also gave a statement, confirming the pictures were posted without her consent. That same day, the sheriff's office announced an arrest warrant for Dean Carter on charges of unauthorized distribution of sexual images, violating state revenge porn statutes, harassment, and possible extortion. Leon learned from an inside source that Dean tried to flee the county, but law enforcement intercepted him. By evening, rumor had it Dean was in custody, facing multiple felony counts. The meltdown was complete. Leon felt a grim sense of closure. When Gracie heard the news, she called Leon, sobbing. "He posted pictures of me and now he's arrested? God, I feel so exposed, so humiliated. Everyone at my parents' church might find out." Leon soothed in a detached tone. "I'm sorry. He's reaping what he sowed, but it's painful for you. If you need to talk to your counselor privately, do it. The important thing is he can't hurt you anymore." She sniffled. "I know. I just never imagined my life would become such a scandal. Thank you for helping me press charges. I appreciate it. Even after all I did, you still protect me." He replied quietly, "I protect Molly, and I protect anything that threatens my family's well-being, including you. But that doesn't mean I forgive you fully yet." She accepted his boundary. "Understood, but thank you. I'll do therapy. I'm so sorry, Leon." Chapter 10. A week passed since Dean's arrest. The local news covered his court appearance in a subdued manner, referencing multiple charges. No mention of Leon or Gracie by name. The revenge porn angle, plus financial fraud, gave him little chance to escape jail time. Leon felt relieved. The threat was neutralized, albeit at a heavy emotional cost to everyone involved. Now, with Dean out of the picture, Leon's focus turned to finalizing either a divorce or a cautious attempt at reconciliation. He scheduled a meeting with the divorce attorney Holly Reyes just to understand his options. He also continued therapy with Gracie, who remained unwavering in her remorse. The attorney explained that Leon had grounds for an at-fault divorce based on adultery, plus spousal cruelty if he factored in the emotional damage from the affair. He could likely secure majority custody of Molly, but the new post-nup gave him an even stronger position if he filed now. Leon left the attorney's office with a heavy mind. He had the power to walk away, keep most assets, and have Molly's custody. Part of him wanted to do that. Another part felt drawn to the memory of their once-loathing marriage. The stepwise progress in therapy and Gracie's clear regret. He confided in Molly. "I might finalize a divorce or I might try living together again. How do you feel?" Molly hesitated. "I want you and Mom to be happy. If that means staying apart, I'll deal with it. If that means reconciling, I'll support that too, as long as it's real. I don't want fake smiles." Leon's heart ached at her maturity. "I promise, no fakeness. I love you, kid." 2 weeks post Dean's arrest, Leon and Gracie arrived for what might be their final scheduled session with Dr. Bowman. This time, Dr. Bowman invited them to consider a moving forward or parting ways conversation. The tension in the air was thick as they settled into chairs. Dr. Bowman began gently. "We've made progress. Gracie has adhered to transparency, ended all contact with Dean, and faced the humiliating fallout from his revenge porn. Leon, you secured your daughter's well-being. Now we decide. Do you attempt a full marital restoration, or do you separate permanently?" Leon rubbed his temples. "I see 2 roads. If we restore the marriage, we'd move back in together with the post-nup as a safety net, continuing therapy. Or, I file for divorce, keep custody, and Gracie remains a co-parent from her parents' home. Molly's 13, old enough to handle some shared custody if it's civil." Gracie's eyes brimmed with tears. "I vote to restore the marriage, obviously. But it's your choice, Leon. I can't force you. I love you. I'll keep showing it." Dr. Bowman asked Leon, "What's your gut feeling, after all the anger and heartbreak?" He inhaled shakily. "I still feel betrayed, but I see genuine remorse." She signed the post-nup. She's parted from Dean, even pressing charges after his revenge stunt. She's cooperating. If I believe people can change, maybe we can rebuild. We do have a shared history, a daughter, love that once existed. He paused, giving Gracie a measured look. But it'll be a long road. I can't promise I won't have flashbacks or fury. You have to endure that, not run away or blame me. She nodded, tears slipping down. I'll endure it. I want to earn your forgiveness, no matter how long it takes. Dr. Bowman smiled gently. Then do we propose a trial cohabitation under certain guidelines? Many couples do that as a final step before deciding long-term. Leon nodded. Yes, that might be wise. She can move back in, but we maintain separate bedrooms initially. We keep therapy and the post-nup. If it fails, we finalize divorce. Gracie's eyes shone with cautious hope. I agree. Thank you, Leon. I won't betray your trust. That evening, Leon told Molly that her mother would be moving back, but they'd keep separate rooms until further notice. Molly seemed relieved, hugging him. So we'll be a family again? Or trying, right? He stroked her hair. Yes, we're trying. No promises. But I want you comfortable in your own home with both parents present if we can manage it. Molly brightened. I hope it works. A week later, Gracie quietly moved in, bringing her essentials. She stored her things in the spare room. The tension was thick, but they strove to remain polite, focusing on Molly's routine. Over dinners, they made small talk. At night, Leon locked his own bedroom door, not ready for physical closeness. Gracie respected the boundary. Meanwhile, the news about Dean's official indictment for fraud and distribution of intimate images hammered local headlines. He faced possible prison time. Leon caught glimpses of Gracie's face when she saw the coverage haunted, but also relieved that his harassment was over. Chapter 11. 1 month later, the household routine stabilized somewhat. Therapy sessions continued weekly, with Leon and Gracie slowly discussing deeper issues, the root causes of her loneliness, how Leon's absences fed it, but also how she made the final destructive choice. Gracie often wept, lamenting how she'd thrown away trust for a fling with a manipulator. Leon listened, slowly thawing his hostility, though never fully dropping his guard. During a therapy session, Dr. Bowman suggested they consider a short renewal vow ceremony if they decided to move forward, or at least some symbolic act. Leon felt uneasy about making public declarations too soon, but he saw potential if they truly overcame the breach. Molly thrived with both parents under one roof again, though she sensed the tension. She liked that they attended her soccer games together, no longer forced to coordinate from separate households. But she also noticed they rarely touched, rarely laughed spontaneously. She confided once in Leon, "Dad, it's better, but also weird, like we're all tiptoeing around an invisible bomb." Leon nodded gravely. "We are. But each day, if we handle it carefully, maybe the bomb diffuses." One evening, as Leon typed away at the kitchen counter, Gracie tentatively approached, offering him a mug of tea. "Remember when we used to have late-night tea chats?" she asked softly. "We'd talk about Molly's future, our own dreams." He forced a small smile. "Yes, that was before your fling overshadowed everything." She winced. "I know. But maybe we can start again, in baby steps. Just tea and conversation. No pressure." He studied her eyes, seeing genuine yearning. He sighed, setting aside his work. "All right, let's talk." They sat at the dining table, steaming mugs in hand. Gracie asked about his ongoing work projects, the stateside logistics tasks that occasionally required short trips. He explained how he might be home more consistently now, having renegotiated his contract. She brightened. "That was part of why I felt abandoned. But if you're around more, maybe we can truly reconnect." Leon nodded slowly. "Yes, and it's not just for you. Molly's at a stage where she needs stability. I realized chasing every contract overseas wasn't worth losing time with her. They sipped tea, an awkward but hopeful hush between them. Eventually, Gracie mustered courage. "Leon, I know you still have nightmares or flashbacks about me with Dean. I see it in your face sometimes. I want you to know I'll do anything to prove that's over. If you need me to show phone logs daily or keep trackers on my social media, I will." He gazed at her, heart tight. That level of policing isn't healthy long-term. I appreciate the willingness, but eventually we need normal trust. Let's remain transparent but not paranoid. She nodded, tears escaping. "I'm so sorry. Every day I regret it. Thank you for not giving up on me." He lowered his gaze. "No promises, but I appreciate your effort." A few days later, Leon received a call from a detective. "Mr. Carter's hearing is scheduled next Monday. You and Ms. Hamilton may be asked to testify about the revenge porn aspect. Are you willing?" Leon said yes. Gracie was also willing. This might finalize Dean's fate. If found guilty, he could face months or years in prison. Leon felt a grim sense of justice. The man had toyed with people's lives, tried to extort Gracie, posted intimate photos. This was the consequence. At the pre-hearing, the detective informed them that Dean's lawyer might attempt a plea deal. Possibly, if he admitted guilt, the punishment might be reduced. But the state's attorney wanted at least some jail time. Gracie trembled at the thought of testifying in open court, but Leon promised to support her. During dinner one evening, Gracie mentioned her parents wanted to speak with Leon. He was indifferent, but she insisted they sought to apologize for their earlier passivity. Indeed, her father had apparently known she was growing close to Dean, but never confronted her strongly. Leon had resented them for enabling it. He reluctantly agreed to meet them. The older couple came by the next afternoon. They greeted Leon with subdued respect. Her father, Mr. Everly, cleared his throat. "Leon, we've realized our inaction contributed to the environment that let Gracie err. We should have intervened when we sensed something was amiss. We're sorry." Leon studied them. "I appreciate the apology, though it doesn't erase the damage." Her mother spoke softly, wringing her hands. "We understand. If there's any way we can help your family heal, let us know. We truly regret not warning you or encouraging Gracie to avoid Dean." Leon nodded curtly. "Noted. I just want you to stand by Molly's best interests going forward. No more secrets." They agreed, leaving with relief. Another minor reparation in the tapestry of betrayal. Leon felt no warmth, but he recognized their remorse as better than denial. One evening, after finishing homework, Molly approached Leon, eyes serious. "Dad, Mom and I talked earlier. She apologized to me again. I think maybe we can forgive her eventually. I see she's trying so hard." Leon's heart clenched. "You're braver than I am, Malls." She shrugged. "I still hurt, but I see that punishing her forever might not help." "She's depressed, Dad." Leon sighed, hugging his daughter. "I know. I'm not punishing her out of spite. I'm just uncertain. But your perspective matters to me. I'll keep trying." Molly smiled, relief shining. "Thanks, Dad." Leon realized that if Molly could see a path to forgiveness, maybe he could push further if Gracie's sincerity remained unwavering. Monday arrived, the day of Dean's hearing. Leon and Gracie showed up at the courthouse, prepared to testify about the revenge porn incident if needed. The hallway outside the courtroom buzzed with tension. Dean's lawyer was present, flipping through papers. Dean himself, in a cheap suit, avoided eye contact. The hearing commenced. The prosecution laid out the revenge porn charges along with harassment. Dean's lawyer tried to mitigate. He was distraught, lost his job, acted impulsively. The state's attorney hammered back that Dean systematically posted intimate images to harm Gracie. Gracie stood, voice trembling, to confirm the images were her, posted without consent. Leon testified about discovering them, about the blackmail attempts. Dean glowered from the defense table, looking sullen. In the end, the judge pressed Dean for a plea. Under pressure, he pleaded guilty to lesser charges, misdemeanor, unauthorized image distribution, but with an added note that the extortion aspect could elevate it. The judge noted sentencing was scheduled a month later, but bail was set high, reflecting the severity. Dean's father was nowhere to be seen. Possibly, he'd given up on his disgraced son. As they left the courtroom, Gracie's hands shook. He pleaded guilty, so he'll face punishment? Leon nodded. Yes, he'll likely see some jail time and a permanent record. That's justice. Gracie exhaled, tears in her eyes. I can't believe how far this went. I'm sorry, Leon, for all of it. He patted her shoulder, forging a moment of empathy. Let's move on. Let's focus on Molly and our therapy. Dean is done. They parted with a silent understanding that the war was over. Dean was neutralized. The only question, could they rebuild their broken marriage? A few more weeks passed. Life settled into a cautious routine. Gracie consistently followed therapy guidelines, being transparent about her movements, finances, phone usage. She even found part-time work tutoring, stepping away from her old teaching job's location where rumors soared. Leon watched her devotion to Molly and slowly allowed glimpses of softened hostility. One night, after a particularly emotional therapy session, Leon found himself alone in the living room, thinking about the future. If he wanted to continue punishing Gracie, he could. But was that who he wanted to be? The man who inflicted endless coldness, even as she tried to make amends? He recalled Dr. Bowman's words. At some point, you decide to forgive, or you decide to end it. Lingering in resentment helps no one. He exhaled. Maybe it was time to choose. He'd seen real changes in Gracie. She hadn't wavered from her vow to avoid Dean or deception. She'd endured public shame, the therapy, the post-nup, the disapproval of her parents. And still, she insisted on making things right. Meanwhile, Molly had blossomed slightly in the stable environment. She was more relaxed, even starting to joke with her mom. If Leon forced a divorce now, the family would fracture again. Could he love Gracie again? Possibly. The memory of her betrayal still burned, but maybe healing was possible. The next morning, he quietly told her, I'm considering letting you move from the spare room back to ours, if we keep the therapy. But only if you want to, and only if you truly feel the guilt is behind us. I need emotional closeness eventually, or we're just roommates. Her eyes shone with tears. Yes, I want that. Thank you. I'll keep showing you I'm committed. He swallowed. Let's take it slow. We can start by you sleeping in my room on weekends. See how we handle the emotional side. She nodded, voice trembling with gratitude. Whatever pace you choose, I'll follow. That Sunday night, she joined him in the bedroom. They both felt awkward, recalling how she'd once given that intimacy to Dean. But she apologized softly, eyes welling with tears, promising she'd never betray him again. Leon fought the swirl of anger, focusing on her remorse. They ended up lying side by side, fully clothed, but at least physically close. He dozed off eventually, feeling her presence. A step forward. The next day, Leon received an urgent call from Molly's middle school principal. Some older students had discovered the rumor that Molly's mom had an affair and shared it around. A few bullies teased Molly, calling her mother insulting names. The principal said Molly had stormed from class in tears. Leon's gut twisted. He drove to the school at once. He found Molly in the counselor's office, eyes red and puffy. She hugged him, sobbing. "They said Mom is a whore, that you're a fool. I hate them." Leon's heart ached. He consoled her. The counselor explained they'd discipline the bullies, but the rumor might persist. Leon realized this was the consequence of a small-town gossip mill, fueled by speculation about Dean's arrest. He texted Gracie, "Molly's upset at school. Affair rumors spread. She's distraught." Gracie replied instantly, panicked, "I'll come. Let me see her." They met in the counselor's office, trying to calm Molly. Gracie was tearful, apologizing profusely for being the cause of the gossip. Molly lashed out, "Why'd you do it, Mom? Look what they're saying about us." Gracie sobbed, "I'm sorry, baby. I never wanted you hurt. Please forgive me." Leon gently intervened. "This is tough, Malls, but we'll protect you. The principal's addressing the bullying. They can't keep taunting you about adult mistakes." Molly stared at them, resentment evident. "I just want it all to go away." The counselor suggested a group talk about coping with rumors. Leon felt a renewed wave of anger at the damage inflicted on an innocent child. Another reason to despise Dean. Another reason to keep forging ahead with controlling the narrative. That evening, Leon and Gracie sat with Molly in the living room, discussing the rumor situation. They reassured her that teachers and the principal would handle bullies. Gracie apologized repeatedly for giving them ammo. Molly's tears eventually subsided. She retreated to her room after hugging her father. She barely acknowledged Gracie, though she did let her mother stroke her hair briefly. Leon confronted Gracie. "This is the real fallout. Our daughter's emotional turmoil. That's the cost of your affair." Gracie bowed her head. "I know. I accept full blame. All I can do is show her I regret it and love her. Over time, maybe she'll forgive me." Leon sighed, rubbing his temples. "Let's keep the therapy focus on family sessions. Molly might need to attend a few times so we can collectively address her pain." Gracie nodded. "Yes, absolutely." Days passed, with no new drama from Dean. He remained in custody pending sentencing. The gossip at Molly's school quieted as staff enforced stricter rules about bullying. Leon noticed small improvements at home. He and Gracie occasionally shared a laugh, recalling a funny anecdote about Molly's younger years. She started cooking family dinners, always careful to ask his preferences. They prayed together at the table sometimes, a habit they'd abandoned months before. Leon felt something shifting like tiny bricks of trust being laid. During therapy, Dr. Bowman observed with satisfaction that Leon was letting down his guard more. Gracie introduced small gestures of affection that Leon sometimes reciprocated. Dr. Bowman said, "You two are demonstrating that an affair, while devastating, doesn't have to end a marriage if both partners commit fully to change." Leon responded, "Yes, though I'm still watchful. But I see she's truly remorseful, and I appreciate her patience with my anger." Gracie clutched his hand, tears in her eyes. "I'll never take you for granted again." They left the session feeling a tentative optimism. Possibly they'd not just survive, but become stronger. Leon still harbored anger, but it was no longer the raw fury that demanded punishment. With Dean's meltdown complete and Gracie's sincerity intact, the war's aftershocks were fading. Chapter 12. A month later, Dean Carter was sentenced to 9 months in county jail for unauthorized distribution of intimate images and 2 counts of fraud. Additional financial penalties loomed. Leon read the headline with a cool sense of finality. Disgraced sales rep sentenced, former Golden Boy falls from grace. This war was over, the enemy vanquished. No more harassment, no more blackmail, no more chaos from that corner. Leon focused fully on whether to finalize the divorce or attempt an official renewal of vows with Gracie. Over the past weeks, her consistent repentance, therapy compliance, and humble attitude wore down his anger. Molly's emotional state improved, seeing them converse without hostility. Even the post-nup set Leon's mind at ease. At any sign of relapse, Gracie would lose everything, so presumably she'd never dare. He scheduled a final private session with Dr. Bowman to decide. She asked, "Leon, do you see a future with Gracie as your wife? Are you ready to fully forgive, or do you remain uncertain?" He inhaled. "I think I'm prepared to try reconciliation. I can't guarantee I'll never recall the betrayal, but I see her devotion, and I do love her beneath the resentment. For Molly's sake, and for the memory of what we had, I'm willing to push forward, to truly heal." Dr. Bowman smiled gently. "That's courageous. Forgiveness is not absolution of wrongdoing. It's an acceptance that the past can't be changed, but the future can be rebuilt. If you two share that vision, you might find a deeper bond." Leon's chest tightened with a mix of relief and lingering fear. "Yes, we share it. Let's do it." Hence, that same week, Leon and Gracie had an emotional talk in their living room, the same space where he'd discovered her betrayal months before. He told her he wanted to fully reconcile, but only if she agreed to a vow renewal, serious accountability, and unwavering honesty. She sobbed with gratitude, hugging him. "I do, Leon. I'll never stray again. I love you and Molly more than life." He held her, feeling tears in his own eyes. Despite the bitterness, he sensed the possibility of truly mending. Maybe they'd come out stronger on the other side. He wanted to believe it. 2 months later, 8 months after Leon's abrupt homecoming, a small vow renewal ceremony took place in the backyard. Nothing fancy, just a handful of close friends, including Reagan, Clarence, and some neighbors who remained supportive. Molly wore a simple floral dress, eyes shining with cautious hope. Leon wore a suit. Gracie a modest white blouse and skirt, not a full wedding gown as she felt unworthy of that symbol. The pastor who guided them in therapy officiated. Leon spoke vows, acknowledging the heartbreak, but expressing willingness to forgive and rebuild. Gracie tearfully promised eternal fidelity, vowing never again to betray him. They exchanged simple new rings. Molly held them for her parents, tears of relief shining in her eyes, as they sealed the vow renewal with a gentle kiss. A hush fell. The small group of onlookers applauded softly. Leon felt a wave of mixed emotion, joy, sadness, relief. The memory of Dean still lurked, but overshadowed now by the commitment of moving forward. He glimpsed Reagan's proud grin, Clarence's nod of approval. They'd supported him from the start. He silently thanked them for their unwavering loyalty. Gracie clutched Leon's hand. "Thank you," she whispered. "I know it'll take a lifetime to rebuild trust, but I'm grateful you chose to let me try." He squeezed her hand. "We do it together one day at a time." Dean served his 9-month sentence, plus faced civil lawsuits from XY Tech for damages. By the time he emerged, he was financially ruined and socially shunned. Word around town said he moved to another state, changed his name. Leon had no interest in following further. The man was a cautionary tale of betrayal and arrogance meeting its downfall. Gracie continued therapy individually and as a couple with Leon, gradually restoring a semblance of marital intimacy. The post-nup remained a silent sentinel, the line in the sand, if she ever strayed again. She immersed herself in supporting Molly's school events, volunteering, and proving daily that she was committed to the family she nearly destroyed. Molly blossomed into a confident teen, grateful her parents had found some measure of peace. Occasionally she confided that she still felt residual anger at her mother, but with Leon's encouragement, she slowly forgave Gracie. The couple let Molly see a positive example of atonement and accountability. Leon resumed occasional overseas trips for short durations, but this time he and Gracie had structured communication video calls daily, couples therapy check-ins. She never complained about his travel, determined not to repeat history. Leon, too, was more mindful of being emotionally present, showing affection, sharing burdens. They found a new dynamic, not the innocent trust of old, but an earned, tested trust that recognized life's frailties. On the one-year anniversary of their vow renewal, they took Molly to a quiet beach cottage, recreating a favorite vacation from her childhood. Gracie wept happy tears at sunset, saying she never dreamed Leon would keep her after the affair. He simply held her, telling her they'd come a long way from the day he found her with Dean. She whispered gratitude that he'd not only forgiven, but continued to love her enough to share a new future. The scars of betrayal never vanished entirely. Sometimes Leon woke from nightmares of returning home early to find Dean's car out front. Sometimes Gracie panicked if Leon seemed distant, fearing he'd finalize a divorce in anger. They navigated these triggers with open communication and steadfast commitment. Over time, the triggers lessened, replaced by the slow, painstaking work of a marriage reborn. Molly, now finishing high school, saw in her parents' journey a model of resilience. She told her father once, "I get it, nobody's perfect. But if they own up to mistakes and fight for what's right, a family can survive anything." Leon nodded, teary, hugging his nearly grown daughter. Leon occasionally reflected on the systematic revenge he unleashed on Dean, a man who had taken advantage of his absence. He felt no remorse. The meltdown was a righteous defense of his family. But he recognized that continuing bitterness would only poison his soul. With Dean removed from their lives, Leon could focus on building a stable, loving home, forging a stronger bond with his wife and daughter than before. That, in the end, was the best revenge of all, a life rebuilt, while the betrayer languished in disgrace. Epilogue. 2 years down the road, Leon woke early to the aroma of coffee. Gracie was in the kitchen, humming softly a tune he recognized from their wedding day. He strolled in, noticing how at peace she looked. They'd reached a point of comfortable intimacy again. The post-nup still existed, but it was more symbolic now. She never gave him cause to invoke it. The heartbreak had slowly receded, replaced by cautious but genuine love. "Morning," she greeted, handing him a mug. "Molly's at a study group. We have a quiet hour." She wore a gentle smile that no longer held the shadow of guilt. He sipped coffee, returning her smile. "Quiet is nice." They ended up sitting together at the small kitchen table, discussing plans for a short family vacation. Something in Gracie's eyes reminded Leon of their early marriage, hopeful, affectionate. He still felt occasional pangs if something triggered the memory of Dean. But he chose to let the pang pass, trusting her renewed devotion. He recalled how far they'd come. The affair discovered, the meltdown orchestrated, the therapy, the vow renewal. They'd lost innocence but gained a deeper awareness. If someone asked Leon whether betrayal could be forgiven, he might say yes, but only under harsh accountability and unwavering effort. He felt no shame about the vengeance inflicted on Dean. Some betrayals demand a fierce response. Yet he also recognized that the ultimate victory was forging a stable, loving environment for Molly. After finishing coffee, Gracie leaned over, kissing his cheek. "Thank you for staying," she whispered. "Thank you for giving me a second chance." He pressed his forehead to hers. "Thank you for proving you deserved it." They held each other in quiet harmony, a testament that, even after the worst betrayal, a marriage could still rise if both partners committed wholeheartedly to redemption. The journey was long, the scars permanent, but love, tempered by justice, had prevailed.